Welcome to the World Wide Web.
I don't like it.
Hello and welcome to our little cave of heaven.
Oh, music.
In the web. We're on Twitch. Hello, Twitchy people.
Twitchy. We're twitching.
Hello, Twitchers.
Are we on the tubes as well?
I haven't tested.
Your tube.
I don't have a hand free right this second.
YouTube thugs.
Journeyman Questers. The Journeyman Questers.
Journeyman.
Live.
Journeyman?
Yes, we are. We're on YouTube.
Journeyman. Oh dear God.
Journeyman.
In that case, boil up a pot. Take a seat. Take a seat. Maybe take a knee by the hearth. And enjoy a fine beverage of your choice with us, the Journeyman Questers.
The Journeyman Questers.
Enjoy a beverage of your choice from our range of sponsors, such as Cosmos.
Yeah, Cosmos.
Today we have a catch-up by none other than Michael Dutch Gray.
Michael!
Well,
Give me a second.
What kind of music would you like in the background? Oh, you know what? We haven't done our little dance yet. I forgot.
Oh shit, yeah.
dance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was like, we choreographed the dance.
We should. Holy fuck, we should do
Like,
that.
we should have a
What?
fortune
Oh,
dance.
people will be like, look at these fucking nerds, man.
So that every time we play this, we all get up on camera and do the dance all together.
What is it? Is it? It's so dumb. Holy shit. Right. What
There's
kind
a
of
one.
music would you like, Mike?
Derpy.
Just hit shuffle and I'll tell you when to stop.
We could be here for 20 minutes.
Go for some kind of tension.
Twisted, corrupted,
Quite like
sexual music.
It's always tension is the best for the catch-up.
Anthem of the deviant.
Yeah. Hopefully we have some like downtime where things are a bit chill and we can take it a bit easier and like there's some jaunty sort of
Yeah.
music. And
That could be today. So, take it away, Mike. Take it away.
Hello?
What? I was waiting for Word to load.
My word.
Yeah. So, Tome of Understanding, page 206. Let me tell thee of a fable of a man who wandered the road looking for riches. He looked under rocks and atop trees. He looked in rivers and in the bellies of ancient caves, but he couldn't find any gold, nor silver, not even a scrap of iron. The man was glum and sat upon a rock in the cave, overlooking a copse of trees, dissected by a stream. As he sat in his misery, an old crone approached, carrying twigs upon her crooked back. She turned to the man. "What vexes you, young'un?" the crone asked. "I've no riches to speak of, and I've been searching day and night amongst all this dirt and scrub." The old crone chuckled. "You just aren't rightly seeing the riches in front of your eyes." He turned and sat with her. And after a moment, the sun rose over the scene. The land became golden. The rivers glistened silver, and the mountains on the horizon jutted out of the land like great iron blades. And the man knew he was as rich as he would ever be. Dutch's concentration is sharply pulled from the book. He loops the silk tie around it to protect the pages and places it softly amongst the softer items in his travel pack. Well, I guess Tellura's awake. I bet she'll be having some serious words with Rufus. I hope he doesn't go too easy on her because of their history together. I know better than most that you'll forgive terrible things done to you and others by the people you love. I understand what she wanted to do, but like this, killing countless innocents in an alchemist fire attack, making pacts with dark gods and trying to kill a mother with new child. What drastic measures did she feel forced to take? What was her ultimate plan after dethroning the boy? Turn coat against the Empire, declare herself ruler of a new independent state? It's ridiculous. Even I know that won't end without a price being paid in blood. But first, let's see if she can shed some light on what the fuck is happening here.
That was great, Mike.
Yeah, love it.
So good. You may have
Excellent.
an inspiration point.
Hey!
You are inspired.
Dice now.
I think that's the first time I've heard you, Mike, do a sort of what I would consider an exotic accent for you of the old crone. I love it. I want more.
Yeah, I expect your next character to be an old crone now. just so you know.
We start at level 0. You start as an old crone.
Yeah, human. You'll die in like 10 years.
You won't make it past level 5.
So
You're a wizard.
we pick up today's session with you all in a chamber beneath the Temple of the Moon, the Lunar Temple, off of the downstairs bath area, where a prisoner, Talura Key, was held captive. You all stand surrounding her, bound by the dimensional shackles that you had gained. As she awoke, and words were spoke between you. And as she began to reveal some pertinent information as to who she had been approached by, or whom she had spoken to in the small, dark, shadowy sphere that she was given, her eyes rolled back and she began to convulse until her head snapped violently towards you all and said, My, you have been busy, my corporeal earthborn. My boys are greatly vexed with your deeds as of late. You possess some entities I immensely desire. They shall not fail me again. I have made sure of that. But for now, I will leave you with this. And shadows began to kind of burst out from her, swirling about the room and about you all. You all rolled intelligence saving throws. And all rolled very well, save for the person missing from the session, Richter.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
After the shadows seemingly back down into her, she fell unconscious, and Richter pulling up his sleeve, you could all see these shadowy, what looked to be like tattoos, almost kind of crawling beneath his skin, kind of snake-like flame shadows that kind of licked about his lower arm. You're not sure how far it extends up into the rest of his body, but Zook, what you did notice was, on second glance, the symbol or image or visage of a shadowy creature with 2 curled horns and multiple limbs. You walked closer to get a better look, but it was gone. And that is where we pick up today's session.
What?
Good luck, Gypsies of Fortune. Good luck.
What was that? Zook turns to Talura. What have you done?
She's unconscious.
What is this entity?
Rufus is down on his knees, grasping at Talura, sort of shaking her. Talura! Oh, is she... What's happening? And looking around back at Zook and I guess towards Zook as the most arcane, knowledgeable of the arcane. What's happening to her, Zook?
Can I float down and just like check her pulse? Is she alive? Is she?
She's alive. You can do a medicine check if you want to learn maybe more, but at a quick glance, and a quick once over, she's alive. She's breathing, but seems unconscious.
Yeah, I'll do a medicine check. It's an 8.
She's
dead.
She's got some considerable wounds about her person, clearly from perhaps the battle. They look fresh, but they've healed over the long rest to an extent. I remind everyone that, remember, when we long rest, we only get half our hit points back, not all of them. So all of you should only have got half your hit points back.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
What if we leveled up?
Doesn't matter.
Damn it, boy.
Drow.
Half of your max HP you get back.
Yeah, that's cool.
Dylan, do you know what this is? Some kind of curse, spell, something. Dark magics.
Is she talking about the devils? Is this Bren?
This style of curse, is this anything I'd have read about or anything I've experienced?
You can make me an Arcana or Religion check.
I will do an Arcana check. That will be an 18.
Are you looking at Tellura or at Richter's mark?
Richter's mark.
Richter can pull this sleeve up further, and you can see it ends sort of up by his upper arm. He has to like unclip some of his armor in order to have a look, and his eyes are sort of wide, but he doesn't look as worried as kind of a normal person would. Richter seemingly having gone through many different things as of late.
Is it similar to this?
What are you looking for in particular?
Is it similar to the rune that was placed upon myself by Malik?
It is not. It is not similar in kind of arcane nature at all. It seems of a different magical nature.
Can I detain what type of magic it is and what perhaps the glyphs mean?
There are no glyphs, unlike the flaming eye that was placed on your palm, which you found to be some kind of visual scrying curse that was placed upon you. This looks to be, it's almost like it's still moving, and there's like it's wriggling under the skin to an extent. It seems to be it could be a curse, it could be some kind of enchantment, but with your role you are unsure.
To be some kind of curse, Zook. I cannot read any more than that.
Well, if it's a curse,
surely we can free her from this.
Well, that's what I think. If it's some curse, then I might be able to remove it. But
perhaps she's not herself. Perhaps if we free her from this, we can find out if she really meant all those things she did.
This is a powerful being, the one that spoke to us. I worry about... Curses are funny things. Of the little I've known of them, I suppose you can just wipe them away like a bit of soil on the shoulder. But I don't know, some set deep. I guess it could be like disease. You can sever a limb, but it's spread to the heart. Who knows?
I think there's some power in accepting powers by a powerful entity. The moment you give in to something like this, then it's much harder to remove.
Right. This is Richter. I gain my powers from the Seeker, and I don't believe that someone could just tear those away from me easily.
Well, they've tried and failed. There has to be some comfort in that.
That's true. And he's just sort of staring down at his arm. But this isn't good.
Tomorrow morning, Richter, I will help you with it. Meet me outside of town. There's like a river next to Soul Reach, isn't there?
There's a
like
big river that
yeah.
runs to the north, and cuts partly into Soul Reach.
Meet me by the Northern River.
We have an opportunity right now. Despite those within these walls, it is not known about Tellura's involvement in the rebellion. As much as it is a travesty what was done to the innocents yesterday. And Tellura acted out of desperation. And I hold no love for the Empire. The elves that rule the Empire and the Silvermark that have their play in it as well. I do not trust them to pass fair judgment upon Tellura.
Who would it be that passes judgment, though?
Well, this is my point exactly. We are in a position where we are able to, and I do not think that Tellura should go unpunished for her actions. But I do not forget that she has 2 young sons in Ingmiri, and I think she should be given the chance to repent. And I do not for a second suggest we take her to Ingmiri. That would bring too much danger upon our heads. But we do have an opportunity to decide her fate right now, and I do not think her fate will be kind if we allow this information to run freely through the city.
It's a mess. Half the city probably wants Celeste dead, the other half Tellura.
Rufus, you acted fairly when you passed judgment upon Dutch, and I believe truly that Dutch has repented for his actions, and I also hold responsibility in that as well. I as much as I would be happy for the people of Soul Reach to pass judgment, I do not think that there will be other people will try to push their agenda, but I'm happy to go with whatever your decision is. I trust your judgment as you pass judgment upon Dutch.
Rufus looks up towards Dylan, and from his position, kneeling on the ground in front of Tellura, sort of holding her hands, he puts them back down on her, gently back down, resting them, and then stands up and takes a step away from her. I have no love of the Empire either, Dylan, and I agree. I feel concerned for what could happen to her, but yet this is big. This is grave. Her actions, you're right, they cannot go unpunished, yet it's right, we have the opportunity to sway things for her now. Yet if we step too far, we could tread on Celeste's toes and ruin our relationship with her. It will be delicate. I do not want to keep Celeste in the dark about this.
Would you be opposed to spinning a mistruth?
No, and perhaps now that's maybe the best thing.
This is our best opportunity to do so.
If only to buy ourselves time to find out what's really happening here.
We must get Tellura somewhere safe for the meantime. And I have a couple. Please, Zook, speak.
Well, we need to be careful. If we're discovered concealing a fugitive, one that brought such destruction to the city, we could be in some trouble. But, well, me and you, Draug, we could sneak into a prison cell. We could get her out if needs be. I know I surely could. I think perhaps if we were to allow her to be imprisoned and awaiting trial, if we sleep on it, and by the morning time, if we feel like she doesn't deserve the fate that this land might bestow on her, well, we can slip in there. I have a spell that dabbles in necromantic magics. I could make her seem dead. She could be cast out of the cell as a cadaver, a corpse. We take her somewhere safe, and this buys us time without risking.
Could we do this now? Is my only
We could
question.
do this now. My only suspicion is that how do we make her death seem realistic? I suppose she's unconscious now.
She made a pact with a evil being.
And how do we know what the city will do with the body? They will need to show the people a culprit.
Perhaps we could persuade them that they don't. That we will vouch for it.
I have one suggestion of where we could take her. The church.
Why the church?
The church is a place where all its residents are, for want of a better word, demon hunters. We haven't had the chance to see it, but Aureus is a formidable champion for the church and a formidable warrior. I have no doubt that he would be able to keep her safe and keep the outside world safe from what she might be able to achieve.
It makes sense. My worry about that is that there seems to be some kind of connection to this being Carmoon, the six-limbed creature that seems to be on Richter's tattoo. That's what possessed her. And the same figure appeared in the mural underneath the church. And I fear that bringing someone to the church may inadvertently cause them to seek out opening up that gate before we're ready. Now we could do it.
We know the key to the gate is the axe.
Aye.
I do not believe Talura possesses the power to take that from Aureus.
No, perhaps.
The shadow, the voice, it spoke of his boys and said that we had objects it desired. But you're saying this is Carmoon's work.
I do not know how, Rufus, but this is linked to Bren.
Are they one and the same?
This is my thoughts exactly.
These are deep issues, but we must concentrate on what's happening here in front of us now.
Yes. We have one choice now, Rufus, and I believe it is yours to make. We either
and what do we tell Celeste?
Celeste does not know that an attempt was made on her life by Talura.
No, but she knows a revolution occurred, and she will find out that Talura was key to it.
Perhaps you're right.
So we either tell Celeste that we have her and try and persuade Celeste to keep her imprisoned while we find out more, or we risk our relationship and we send Talura away and say she got away.
I'm happy to do whatever you choose, Rufus, but my question to you is your love for Talura, does that mean more to you than your honor in Soul Reach and your word, Celeste. You must choose. Neither one is right or wrong. You must make a decision.
What would the king do?
The king, well, from his words, he would seek information. He'd ask questions and then enact justice.
So we have to take her then and question her. Get the full picture before we do anything.
We've got too many questions to answer, and in my heart, I know Talura has done a great wrong. Yet she was a wounded animal backed into a corner. Would you do any different?
No, and this is my point.
Yes, I understand, and I agree. Her actions were not just, and she must answer for them eventually. So, I say we send her away for now. Keep her hidden until we find out the true cause. Otherwise, we risk Celeste making an example of her, executing her in front of the city before we get a chance to find out her real connection with Kamun and how it happened.
So be it. Where do we send her then? The church?
At this point, you hear shouting from the room next door. Let me go! Let me go! You can just hear Yasha screaming from the other room. Where is she? Where's my fucking sister? And you can hear like this kind of goosh as she falls over in her room.
Well, we better be quick about it.
Zook.
I'm going to go in there and leave these brain boxes to it.
Okay.
What are our options for extracting her?
We need a tree.
I can turn her invisible.
Do we remember? Can we think of where the nearest tree might be? DM?
Probably by the Glinting Mint. There's some nice big trees that sort of stand on the outside of the Glinting Mint.
Dutch, before you leave, we may require your strength.
Like around here.
Okay. What do you want me to do?
Can you carry Talura?
Yeah. The Lord, she doesn't go like all weird again and give me another tattoo.
If I turn her invisible, can you carry her?
Yeah.
I have to say though, like, we can send her through the tree, but you may want to warn Aureus. Richter, do you still have the capacity to...
Wait, are we not at least asking Celeste if we're allowed to take her? What?
No.
Just saying she ran away.
We're going to say she died.
They'll probably want a body.
That can be explained away.
We could say that her body disintegrated in screaming ash. It's not far-fetched considering the things that have happened in the city.
Yes. Seems fair.
Dutch, what are your thoughts? I can see something troubles you.
It's nothing.
Please.
There isn't a way out of this that we're not putting a target on our backs.
That's always been the case. Ever since we left Xanthar together, the target's been on our back. And that is the path we tread now.
Yeah, this is a big fucking target though, isn't it?
It's pretty big. I think we can deal with it.
Where's my sister? And at this point, you can hear a kind of worried voice from down the corridor, coming along with some other footsteps Sister,
Trout, turn her invisible.
sister.
Okay, I'm turning Talura invisible at this point.
Okay.
Wait, is Talura speaking?
No.
No.
No, that was Celeste.
You lean forwards and cast your arcane magic forth, and the body just whoosh, like a cloak has surrounded it.
And what I'll do is I'll help position the Talura's body over Dutch with the handcuffs like around the front, and I presume Dutch is strong enough just to sort of walk as if it's like kind of a heavy cloak.
So she's cuffed behind her back.
She's unconscious right now.
No, it's easy. No, you can do this. What you do is, when someone's handcuffed behind their back, all you need to do is sit them down, and then they'll be able to squeeze their ass, and then their legs through the chain. I mean, it's not easy, but it's doable. You have to do it when you pick handcuffs. I mean, it's a real life thing that I've done on high speed cuffs, the current police ones.
If she's flexible enough, you could try.
If I'm fucking flexible enough, she is.
I don't think I could do that.
Fritters did not end up as good as I am. They get
How would
That's
I
okay.
get your legs out? I don't
Thank
know.
you.
Because once it gets under your bum, you can just shimmy your arms forward.
I can't touch my toes. There's no way I'd be able to.
Could we change the position of the manacles?
Should we just dislocate her shoulders for fuck's sake?
You can.
What
So
about-
when they were applied, it says the dimensional shackles. You can state who is able to remove them. So I imagine that you just stated the Gypsies were the only people that can use action to remove them.
Okay.
So anyone can remove it from your gang.
Yeah, so I will move them from the back to the front.
And I would like to grapple her neck the entire time she's doing it.
Okay.
I'll do this. Say we do this before the invisibility is cast.
Okay. You grapple her down, clicking off the manacles. You hold your breath. And you place her hands back round the front, and she's unconscious. You pucker over Dutch. As Celeste, you can hear her approaching the other room. Sister, Rufus. And she gets to the sort of door where it is, and I guess Zook, you're there, or someone's there.
I would imagine Rufus, but Josh isn't here right now.
Exactly.
Would have left whilst we're doing this to go and address the situation.
Okay, so Rufus steps out as Celeste approaches the door where Yasha is being held. She looks weak. Her stomach is still kind of large. Stays big for a while, doesn't it? That's the thing.
And then all the afterbirth comes out and they sort of deflate more.
All the priests are like, my lady, you must sit down. Please go back to bed and rest. And she's like, no, I heard my sister's voice. And she looks towards you, Rufus. Where is she? She's in here? Open this
Celeste.
door at once.
Celeste, you of course may see your sister, but I should warn you, she came here with others who came with an attempt on your life. I do not yet know her true intentions, so please be careful.
She's my sister. Open this door, Rufus.
I step back and kind of say, yeah, go for it.
One of the priests kind of opens it in front of her.
I'm going to nod to Dylan and Dutch and be like, and just kind of like float off, be like, let's get the fuck out of here.
Okay. She opens the door and obviously there, kind of in the corner, bound, is Yasha. She kind of waddles over and kneels, and they embrace, or at least she embraces her. As she looks back towards you and is like, unchain her, Rufus. She's not the enemy.
Perhaps you should ask her why she came with the people she came with first.
Roll me a persuasion check.
A natural 20.
Hey!
Oh.
He does exactly what you said, and then
She-
gives you a castle.
She gives you a long look, registering your trepidation that it is truthful. You know, you are seriously concerned. So
I cannot tell lies.
she turns back and says, "Yasha, is this true? There was an attempt on my life." And she's like, "Yeah, but I'm worried for father. I was with him. It turns out it wasn't him. It was someone else. Some shadow. I didn't get a good look at them. Some woman. Shadowy. But they tried to attack you. Rufus and his dogs protected you. But they locked me up here. Let me go. Celeste kind of gestures towards you to unbind her, Rufus.
Are you sure?
I am. She is my sister.
Okay. I'm assuming that we've disarmed her completely already.
Yeah. We'll say her weapons are kind of stowed in one of the other.
Oh, I've got
chambers.
her double axe.
You've got her. Yeah. Okay. We'll say Dutch has the stuff then.
Cool.
Because it's a big fucking axe. I liked it.
As you wish. And we'll untie her.
You unbind her, and sort of as the last bindings are coming off, she sort of does it herself and shoves you away. She looks towards her sister and just embraces her.
This does beg the question: if you thought that you were with Malvo the entire time, then where is he?
I don't know. The last I remember, we were on that stage near you. Then the whole goddamn loom came crashing down on us. And when I pulled myself out of the rubble, my father was there. He got himself out. He helped me escape. But it wasn't him. It might not have been him before, but I doubt that. I've got to find him. And she sort of gets up, and Celeste grabs her arm. You can't. Father he'll be fine. He'll be safe. At this point, you hear everyone's up, and sort of with his arm in a sling, Christoph stands at sort of the door of the chamber. Uncle, everything ship shape upstairs? How's the town?
Rufus walks over and gives him like a double pat on the arm, the opposite one that isn't injured.
He still flinches.
A few days ago, Christoph, I would never have thought that I would say, it's good to see you, and I'm glad you're okay.
Don't get all soppy on me, Uncle. Buy saloon. He kind of looks at you like.
And then Rufus turns around and takes a few steps away from him, and then spins back round to face him. It's not good. It's not good up there, Christoph. You and Celeste are the leaders of this city, and you're going to need to step up, step forward for them, for the people. You need to make amends here, and quickly. The town is half destroyed.
It wasn't our fault. It was those bloody rebels, Uncle. Not my fault at all. I'm not making I'm not apologising. I haven't done anything wrong.
The townspeople, whenever there's an issue, will always see their leader as the fault.
Well, that's their own fucking fault, then, isn't it?
Then this is a lesson you must learn quickly, unless you want to end up like the other nobles out in the street.
Like the other noble. And Celeste sort of puts a hand on his shoulder and is like, the priests have told me that they'll be sending people from the capital for the child. The child needs to be blessed. They've informed the capital of what's happened here and of the good news, Christoph, of our child. Everything will be fine. The people, they will recover, and we will help them. We will rebuild.
How do you expect the Empire to react to this news, Celeste? To what's happened here today?
They will not want it going public amongst the entire Empire. Even the wisps of rebellion must be quelled to the greatest extent. They will not be happy, but my child is a gift, a blessing. And that is the good that has come out of this. They will see that and they will tell everyone of that.
That is good.
Zook, Dutch, and Dylan, you are kind of sneaking out with an invisible body. So I'd like you all just to make me a stealth check, even though you're visible to some of them. It's like about kind of you all kind of walking out in a nonchalant way that doesn't draw attention.
Can I put my bag over her?
You could, but then it would be floating, which you probably don't want to do.
Can I quickly
Wait,
subtly...
how big is she?
She's a person size. Yes, Zook.
Can I cast Pass Without Trace, focusing specifically on Tellura, so even the wind seems to just pass through her, and nothing untoward?
You could. It may draw attention. It's not a subtle spell necessarily.
No, sure. I think in the grand
Before
scheme
we leave,
thing,
though.
I mean, I guess there's people in the temple, like guards and stuff.
Just do
that
it.
would
Just
see
stay
me
with
doing it.
casting a healing spell.
I mean,
And they should mind their own fucking business.
we're already a
Or
weird
up
bunch
their
of
eyes in.
people, so
Yeah, it's up to you. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'll cast it.
Okay, sure. You kind of cast it in the room, but the shadows seem to cling to you. So everyone make a stealth check for me.
Keeping it.
Ooh, that's good.
Actually, I've got some meta information for you.
Okay.
Due to the last level up, I took some invocations, one of which is Witch Sight, so I can see the true form of any shape changer or creature concealed by illusion or transmutation magic while within 30 feet.
That's
Nice.
awesome. That's awesome.
Nice. Rufus sees the truth.
Okay,
The
sweet.
other one is
truth seer.
Master of Myriad Forms, so I can cast Alter Self at will.
Oh, like
Ooh.
Zook. Like Zook.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're almost
No!
fully able to just look like other people now as a party.
Very cool. Okay, yeah.
That's
Thanks for
cool.
letting me know.
So I don't know if I don't imagine it would change anything now, but yeah.
Nothing
For future.
has poked its way out as of yet. And I imagine that your eyes are still. You're not even really aware that you're able to do this yet. You know, it will maybe reveal itself to you. You begin making your way out of the Lunar Temple, or at least upstairs, while this conversation downstairs is happening.
Actually,
Yes.
just because I'm carrying someone, remember I count as a size larger so I ignore the movement penalties and everything because of my ability heavyweight.
Mhm.
Well, I get 11th level.
I just saw a dog run in and out really quick.
She's running away from Ayana putting her harness on.
Just so, yeah, if it comes up, I count as being a bigger thing and I can move without any shit.
You head upstairs, and in the main sort of chamber, there are quite a few priests sort of moving about, moving benches back, and the ones that are by the door that are barricading it are still there, and the guards, the handful of guards that were on duty, you can see they've been swapping watches, and there's like a kind of crack where some of it's piled up, and they keep peering out. As soon as they see you kind of come up the stairs, one of them kind of turns and morning.
Morning.
It's looking quieter out there. Think we can open these doors yet?
Well, we'd like to go and take a look around, but be vigilant. I would suggest.
Right. They begin moving some of the pews off, and they eventually pull the door slightly ajar. The early morning sun kind of just shines its way kind of down and through this crack, and it is quite dark within the Lunar Temple. There aren't very many. It's not like a big stained glass window kind of place. It's lots of blue candles and kind of shadowy moonlit areas, but the sunlight kind of bursts in, and you all immediately kind of feel it to your face. You feel it, the hot on your skin, Draug, and you pull your hat or your hood up around yourself, and you head out into Soulreach itself. Zook, you can see a plume of smoke still rises from the collapsed loom over the tops of buildings to the west.
Does there seem to be a lot of other damage, like to other areas of the city, or is it hard to tell?
Not in the immediate vicinity, although there is kind of like what looks to be maybe a skirmish took place sort of near the storehouses. You can see across towards them. There's a section of the storehouses that look to be kind of smashed or broken down, slightly burnt. But you can see people, kind of mingling about. There's kind of most people are I guess getting back to work, but there's a lot of people with carts and things, and you can see there is quite a heavy guard presence that is kind of out, mainly the kind of darker armor of the Blackfriar troops that arrived, and you can see them kind of issuing orders, and there's people kind of carrying like hunks of masonry on carts and things. It looks like people are kind of clearing up.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks safe.
Cool. I'll start floating towards the mint then.
Okay, you're heading towards the mint.
Beckon.
Rufus and Richter, you're still downstairs. What are you up to?
How did that conversation end just now? Like, Yasha just ran off to go and be like, I need to go find Malvo.
She hasn't gone yet. Celeste said that their father is likely okay, but she seemed to think not. Christoph kind of turns and my dear, I think you should probably get back to rest. Rufus, would you like to come and meet your nephew?
Is it my nephew? Or would it be my...
Your great nephew. Is it your great nephew?
It would be nothing to you in the real world.
It's nothing to me.
Yeah, it's your nephew's son, so your great
So,
nephew.
I don't know.
think it's a
whatever.
nephew.
Rufus, he nods and says, yes, I would. Please lead the way.
Celeste and Yasha obviously comes to Celeste saying it's actually her nephew. So you head sort of between some arches through past the pool and into where it looks to be some kind of the chambers of some of the higher up priests, and probably the chamber in which Celeste has been kind of sleeping. And the head priest, you can see him there, rocking a small kind of cot, like a wooden cot. And Celeste kind of moves over and picks up this small bundle, this blue-haired, bundled, kind of swaddled child with silvery skin and glowing, sparkly eyes. And she kind of eagerly passes it over to Yasha, who kind of is like that person in the family that really doesn't want to hold the baby in fear of dropping the baby. That's all they can think of. She just takes the baby and immediately is like, and passes it straight to you, Rufus.
Rufus looks
toward... we have...
Aha!
A boy has joined!
What?
What
up? Here he is!
What?
With some fresh dice.
Yeah. Yes, fresh dye. Fresh dye. 2 sets of fresh hot dye.
Fresh plastic.
Oh,
I had to get 2 sets because, they're cursed sometimes.
very good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rolling with
man,
advantage.
that's the best financial decision you've ever made.
Probably.
welcome back. Some things have happened, and some stuff
Yeah,
has
I've been
happened.
told that some shit went down. Yeah.
Major shit.
Have you informed Aiden?
I've had a very brief summary. Apparently there was some kind of a commune fracas, and I supposedly failed to save, and now I have some sick ink apparently. But that's literally everything I know.
So to give you a really quick, brief summary, you managed to escape with Celeste and Christoph. You ran through the streets and eventually made your way to the Lunar Temple, having to fight through some more bandits and
I remember
muggers. You got to the temple. You barricaded yourselves in. Rufus persuading the guards. While Celeste began to give birth in the pool, you were there for that.
Yes.
The birth went,
I made sure it was not a breach birth. I was
the
good
birth went
there.
really well, and you stayed down.
Yeah.
And
What is this incredible monstrosity? But it was a good birth.
You stood vigil by the door because there seemed to be people trying to get into the temple. You weren't sure exactly who was trying to get in, but Zook or someone ran down and shouted for help. Dutch went up, and you decided to stay put. It turned out it was Malvo and Yasha, the father and sister to Celeste.
Of course, there was some gateway hijinks.
They were trying to get in to the temple. Their family, they wanted to see the child. But
Dylan did that sick thing where he shot the arrow behind him.
Yeah, very high insight roll by Dylan allowed
something wasn't right with Malvo.
Exactly, and essentially a fight took place in which Dylan shot Malvo in the darkness, and he immediately dropped form into something else. Which shadow stepped into the temple and began heading downstairs. Zook got silenced, couldn't talk, couldn't cast spells, tried to hit it with his staff. No one else could see it because it was so well hidden. It snuck past him, carried on downstairs, very injured with arrows kind of sticking out that had shattered. And as it rounded the corner, you rolled a perception check. You saw this shadow. You used your reaction to whack it and actually downed the person. And it turned out
motherfucker.
that this person was Tellura Key.
God damn it, that's Fleet and Elgrin's mum. Ah!
That is right. and now
I love your
unconscious
sons, you bitch.
unconscious and bleeding out, you stabilized her with just medicine, and you and Dylan used the dimensional shackles on her.
Oh boy.
So she's like locked unconscious.
We got medieval on our ass.
Dutch has like some absolute barbarian versus barbarian brawl with Yasha upstairs. Yasha, who
Hell yeah.
is equally as confused why her dad just turned into someone else.
Right.
And you lock her up as well because Rufus doesn't trust her. He doesn't believe or is unsure of whether she's part of it or not.
I didn't even kill her. I chose not to kill her.
He did, and he received
done.
inspiration. Then you barricade, you sleep the night there, you do a long rest so you can recover.
My strength came back?
Your strength has returned, yep. And
Hey.
you recover half of your max health, you get that back. So if you were above half health, you're full.
I think the last I remember, because I forgot to change it, but at this point I assume it's not an issue. I still had the double health from the halberd, but I'm guessing that's like worn off now.
Yeah, the double health it halves again once it's up.
Okay, cool.
So you slept, and you awoke the next day, and the stuff that's just happened is basically that. You talked with Talura in the morning. Locked up with the dimensional shackles. She tried to escape with her shadow step, couldn't because
God damn it.
The dimensional shackles stop you teleporting. And she started to reveal some pertinent information as to whom it was that had gifted her these powers and who she talked to. She said, I'll repeat what she said because I think it's important for you to know. She said that a blue shadow had approached her, had told her of, kind of lured her in with promising power to fulfill her goals in the rebellion, and gifted her a small, probably about a golf ball sized sphere of shadow, in which she communicated over the course of maybe an entire year. Communicated with an entity. As she began to speak about this, her eyes rolled back, she began to convulse, and her head kind of cracked round, and she read a passage in a voice that you do not recognize.
Oh boy.
Talking about, in fact, I'll just reread it because it's kind of important stuff. It was, My, you have been busy, my corporeal earthborn. My boys are greatly vexed with your deeds as of late. You possess some entities I immensely desire. They shall not fail me again. I have made sure of that. But for now, I will leave you with this. And shadows burst from Talura, engulfing the room. You all rolled intelligence saving throws. They rolled for you. I can't remember who it was that rolled. And I think it was Mike. And you were the only one to fail.
Oh, okay.
So your arm from about here up to your shoulder is covered in.
I haven't got video.
From your wrist to your shoulder, are covered in these kind of coiling, flame-like, shadowy snake.
Oh yeah!
Whoa! And Zook, with his high perception, saw within them, for a brief moment, a similar visage that you've seen before of a two-horned creature with multiple limbs.
That motherfucker
within there, and then it was gone once more. Dylan did an Arcana check on you and thought it could be a curse, but he's kind of not sure. And you decided what you're going to do with Talura, and the decision was that the group have decided that they're going to try and smuggle her out, which they're doing currently. Because they've turned her invisible. They're smuggling her out to a tree by the Glinting Mint, and they're going to take her to the Church of the High Hunt. That's your plan currently?
That sounds about right. That sounds like what we were discussing.
Everyone else has stayed, so you and Rufus have stayed in the temple, and you are currently standing in a room, and Rufus with Celeste, Yasha, and the High Priest and the babe, and Ruth is holding the babe, and that is where we are.
Oh, so far, this tattoo it's not manifested anything. It's not done anything. So far, it's just some sick ink.
You've only had it maybe 10 minutes, so yeah.
Oh, dope! Nice. Okay, cool. I guess I'm just admiring it fearfully.
Yeah.
Very well.
You hold this child, Ruthus, before you. This blue-haired, angelic-looking cherub of a child.
I take it off of Yasha, and I see her like her reluctance and scaredness. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Her fear of handling the child, and I say, I knew that feeling once when I looked down at Spera for the first time. You get used to it after a while, though. And I look down at the child, and then back up at Celeste and Christoph. I won't fail this time. I'll do everything in my power to protect them. You have my word. They are family, after all.
Christoph kind of punches your arm. He's like, "Stop getting all soft again, Uncle." But you swear you see a wateriness to his eyes.
I look up at him. You're a father now, Christoph. It's perhaps the most important role you've ever undertaken.
Right. Yes, of course. I suppose
I look down at
a lot of my time's going to be taken up now, isn't it?
I look down at the child again, and then kind of more like looking at how it actually looks. This child is unlike any I've ever seen before. How could this even happen? This hair, the eyes.
Good genes, I suppose, Uncle? And Celeste...
Not from our side.
Celeste sort of smiles, sort of in thought. And
demurely.
God cuck.
We were blessed.
So this is Saloon's work. Manifest.
I believe so. Yes.
Arethusa just sort of pauses and kind of just nods, and then hands the baby back.
Richter's going to sketch the baby.
Okay, cool, yeah.
That's what I'm doing, while also glancing at my wrists.
Performance check for me and roll your new dice.
Here we go. First roll of them new fucking dice.
Think about the plastic.
17 plus 9.
Oh,
Hey.
26.
Holy
Not a bad
shit.
first one.
That's a good omen.
26. It's a goddamn good sketch.
Incredible child. Such a beautiful cherub.
The priest is like looking over your shoulder, and he's like, "By the light of the moon, that is a gift you have."
Thank you. I have seen many wonderful things in my travels. Many wonderful things here as well, and I am only so blessed as to be able to take Saloon's blessing and put it to parchment.
Meanwhile, the others, you begin heading through town as people are kind of bustling about, and you approach the Glinting Mint, a shining, glinting building, as its name states, and you can indeed see a few oak trees that kind of are dotted around with stone-walled, little kind of stoned areas where they sit. There's two sort of by the great steps that go up, and two on the corner. You can see there is heavier guard presence outside the front of the Glinting Mint. Not that of the town guard, but that of what look to be stocky, well-armored dwarves, standing, almost mercenary types, standing vigil at the steps leading up. Although the doors are open, and it seems the mint is in business.
Is there a tree that is sequestered or slightly more not noticeable, maybe around a different side of the building to the where the entrance is?
Not really, no.
Okay. Maybe we'll sort of scoot round to behind an oak tree, so we try and make sure that enough guards can't see us.
Sure. You think that it's not you're sort of out of sight, but it's like you're all standing behind a tree, and you assume that they probably know where you are.
Perhaps.
Just the series of heads of different sizes leaning out from behind the tree.
I imagine we're deliberating, but I imagine we haven't gone straight behind the tree and we're just stood
there. I imagine you're standing looking at them in, and this is Zook being like, right, this is the plan.
Head down the Winchester, wait for it all to blow over. Yeah, I guess we're just like swinging from a water skin, trying to look casual. I maybe lean over and say, do you think we can maybe make a distraction so that they can't see? Something to draw their eye.
But anything within my power will drop the invisibility.
I see.
What if you take her and I cause a distraction?
Are you concentrating on any spells right now, Zook?
Only disguising us. But I can cast that as many times as I like, thanks to the power of the tree.
Could you conjure some sort of illusion?
I think so. I have to be quite close to it, though. I'd have to try and get it across the courtyard. And I don't know if I've got the capacity to do something that far.
Perhaps. I mean, if Dutch goes behind the tree, then I could drop the invisibility and cast something.
Yeah, that'll work. I'll put my bag on top of her as well, because, might help a bit.
That could work.
How about, so I can do water or darkness?
Water is a pretty good distraction. No one likes getting wet.
That's true.
But if I could cast a sphere of darkness around us, they won't know where it. So what's the range of darkness? What's the sort of?
Look up your spell.
I think it's 60-foot sphere.
I think it's a 30-foot sphere, but I don't know what the range is to cast it.
It's a 60-foot range, and it's a 15-foot radius.
Yeah, so 30-foot sphere.
So 30-foot sphere. So
how far away is it from the tree to the guards?
Yeah, within 60 foot.
We could walk past the tree. I could cast the darkness, hopefully without arousing suspicion around us and the tree. If you make sure you're close enough to the tree, you cast the spell, and then I will hold Dutch's hand and lead us through the tree.
Sounds like a plan.
So if you go over to the tree first, ready to cast the spell, I will walk up to you, cast the darkness, and then I will lead Dutch through the portal.
All right, sounds good. I'll float over to the tree, and I'll just sit down on it and just be drinking from my water skin, looking casual, but with my hand against the tree.
You see two of the guards that are by the steps. Their eyes move over to you. But they linger for a while. They move on.
Yeah, as soon as I see that they've sort of stopped looking at Zook, I'll sort of just casually walk with Dutch by the tree.
Okay.
And then soon as I'm sort of in that vicinity, bam, darkness. And Zook knows that's
Yeah, and as he casts darkness, I pull my hand up the tree as I float up, as if unzipping it.
Okay. You thrust a hand forwards towards the guards, and darkness erupts. You see them both kind of, their eyes go wide as they reach for their weapons.
Could I sleight of hand, like sort of do it kind of? Is that
Sure.
possible?
Yep.
Shall I roll? I'll just roll that then.
Yeah, bro.
21.
In which case,
Can he have advantage
in which
because
case
I
you-
was nonchalantly whistling?
you throw your hand out, but subtly, and darkness erupts from between them. They kind of grab their weapons as darkness just kind of whoosh in the doorway. You hear a ka-ka-ka-ka-ka-chung as metal doors slam shut on the inside of the mint. You see Zook pull the tree open, and all three of you dart through it as it closes up behind.
And I
And
guess,
taking
yeah, and
us
I'll
to
drop
one of
darkness
the-
as soon as we've gone through.
Sure.
I'll take us to one of the trees outside the entrance to the Church of the High Hunt.
So one of the,
The one
The red ones.
hoping to see the friendly face of Hammond telling us
it opens up and you step through. Cold air hits you, brisk and icy. You breathe it in your lungs, and you're aware of the quite obvious difference between in climate between the Glinting province and the Varamark itself. And you can see to your right the rolling landscape of the kind of tundra brush around you and the mountains that surround the Church of the High Hunt. Directly before you, you see what looks to be a guard, but their skin is red, like bright red. And as you kind of come to the kind of strange feeling of the sick kind of lurching feeling of being transported miles and miles and miles, your vision kind of clears, and it is Hammond, his face like bursting with blood vessel anger. And he walks up with a hand out. No, I've told you. And he tries to like shove you back through the tree.
now. Too late.
Is that a strength challenge?
You kind of you pop out. I'm gonna say the first person to go through is probably Dutch. So Dutch, make me a strength check.
Well, I mean, I hate to say anything, but it wouldn't be, would it?
Wouldn't it have been Dutch?
Well, if I'm leading Dutch through the portal, because he can't see anything.
Case you roll me an athletics or acrobatics check.
Yeah, I'll acrobatics it. That's a 22.
You
dodge a
sidestep his
Hammond, you can
palm,
dodge
kind
a
of
ball.
whacking it to the side, and you all come out as the tree closes once more. You can faintly see the line, that has existed before. There's another one that's slightly off to the side. This seam that's in the tree.
I'm gonna hate
He
that.
grabs his head. He's like, "You have to
Let's just
stop
fuck up this
doing
tree.
this." He turns and spins, pointing at one of the other acolytes of the church. I'm getting Aureus. Stay watch, don't let them inside. And he marches through the doors, slamming them behind him.
Good to see you.
Zook, did you have to choose this tree again?
Well, it's the most convenient one. It's right in front of the door.
You're right. Hammond's such a tad ass.
I don't want to float from those forests over there on the horizon.
It's quite a walk.
What's Richter and Ruthus doing currently?
What does it smell of?
Wow.
I apologize.
What does it smell of right now?
What does it smell
What
of?
does it smell of? What?
What?
Oh, sorry, am I not muted?
Have you all seen
It coincided
What is Richter doing? What does it smell?
coincided
Sulfur
perfectly
and
with me
hellfire.
saying, "What is Richter and Ruthus doing?" And it was immediately you went, what does it smell of? I was like, wait, what? I'm so confused.
Oh, birthing fluids. That's what that's.
Oh,
Oh.
My favorite fluids.
So what are you two up to?
Rufus turns towards Celeste. So what do you intend to do now? How do you intend to re-establish order in the streets?
She goes to speak, but the archpriest turns and says, I've informed my friends in the capital of this glorious birth, and with the full moon approaching, Saloon's day, we shall have to celebrate. There shall be a festival, I'm sure. I have already spoken with Celeste on this. It will be a time to rebuild and allow the people to have some time off and celebrate. Rejuvenate in this light of Saloon, this blessing, this new child. The priests of the High Temple of Saloon, one of them shall come. And it is said that in just over a week, on Saloon's day, Celeste will have to go to the capital with them, along with the child, for it to be blessed in the High Temple in Xanthar.
Will the child be returned here to its home, or is it to be celebrated in the imperial capital, shall we say?
That will have to be decided by the high priests themselves.
Of course.
I've even heard that the Emperor himself has spoken of your child, Celeste. I know not what he has said, but it has come to his attention, and if it has, it can only mean good things.
Celeste, if that's true, you have an opportunity to speak to the Emperor themselves and perhaps gain some leverage, perhaps do something for your people.
She kind of nods, but the kind of head priest says, I think not. The Emperor himself rarely talks to anyone, let alone people of the outskirts of the province. As grand as you are here, Celeste, in the eyes of the Empire at large, we are but a speck.
But she is the mother of a blessed child, what appears to be almost an avatar of the god of this empire. Surely that must count for something.
Indeed she is, and my hope is that perhaps the Emperor himself will bless this child. We can only hope. What a day that would be. You can see the excitement sort of on his face.
I nod towards Celeste and say, well, something for you to consider, nonetheless, after our previous conversation. Don't forget the oath you made.
She nods towards you.
Lest this happen all over again.
Can I insight that nod?
Yeah, you certainly
Yeah. Rolled as a 3, so it's just a 9.
Yeah, you guess. Not sure.
It's a classic nod.
Classic nod. Nod classic. The Brotherhood of Nod.
Rufus turns towards Richter. Well, I think perhaps we should go and investigate what's happened out there. Perhaps we can give you a report, Celeste.
Yes, and Yasha kind of turns to Nine. I'll come. I want to see where my father is.
It would be good to know his whereabouts, that's for sure.
I could perhaps assist in that.
So you three begin to leave the temple, heading into town. Meanwhile, miles and miles away at the church of the High Hunt,
fast travel.
a few minutes go past and the doors to the church open and sort of silhouetted in the doorway, you see a large figure. Tufts of hair coating his body. Two horns, one which is cracked and broken, with the kind of metal band around the top of it. The scar running down his face. The old Minotaur Aureus stands before you. You see the axe of Balinor itself across his back, this great axe. Brother Draug, come here. And he kind of comes in, embracing you. It's like it's a deep squeeze. It kind of clicks your back as he squeezes
Father
you.
Aureus, I must apologize firstly for dropping in unnotified.
Your vision moves to the side where Hammond stands, but it is not Hammond. To his left, standing maybe 2 or so meters behind, stands Christian Blackwood. You see her form, slender and sinewy, with her dark kind of robes about her.
Quick question.
Yes.
Have I ventured back here since I claimed the Nightstone?
You have not, no.
Please, do not be alarmed about my new visage. It merely heralds that we were successful in one of in something we wish to achieve.
Before you come inside, Brother Draug, I believe that someone has something they wish to say to you, and he kind of turns to his right, and Christian steps forwards.
Blackwood.
Hello, Draug.
I'm impressed that you made it back this quickly.
So you should be. Look, I know we left things in a rather bad way before.
But I'm repenting here with Aureus, and I want to apologize. I was wrong in my faith, my beliefs. I thought it was I who was in that prophecy, but now, with the church's help, I've seen.
Insight check.
Make me an insight check.
Yeah, I was gonna think. Yeah.
It's nice. 10.
As hard to read as always. It is.
It might surprise you to hear this, but I'm pleased to see that you made it back alive. For all the differences that we've had previously, you must know that I have nothing but respect for you, especially considering everything that you've been through. And I'm happy to have you on our side again.
Very well. And she turns, begins.
One more thing.
She stops in the doorway.
We bring something with us that I hope might persuade you further of why it is indeed not the right time to unleash what lies beneath this church.
Oh, what do you speak of, Draug?
Dutch, if you would.
Yeah, I just throw her on the floor. That'll not.
There's sort of a-
Maybe a little.
Onto the ground.
Bit of ceremony.
I will sort of, as he's throwing her, I'll sort of like try and soften the blow. Like, this is still Ruth, a friend of Rufus, and also Elgrin and Fleet's mother.
Sure. You managed to catch
Try
her.
to shank a baby, bro.
She's not really. She's not invisible to you.
She is not going to be treated kindly.
You catch her before she hits the ground, and I assume drop the invisibility at this point.
I would have dropped when I cast darkness.
Oh yeah, of course. And who is this?
It's a long story. Perhaps we better go inside and speak of it there.
We just got the new shipment of of spirits in. Come.
He kind of like takes you over the shoulder.
You must tell me the story of how you have got these eyes, Draug. They trouble me.
As we go in, I'd like to just start relaying everything from start to finish.
At this point, there is an opportunity for downtime, I will say. It's hard to kind of fit that in without forcing people's hands into it. So there is an option. You are totally in your own right not to have this specific bit of downtime. But essentially from now until the Saloon's Day, which is in a week and 3 days, you could spend some downtime doing whatever it is that you want to do during that time. That will involve skill checks, less kind of intense moment by moment RP. Things like things in Soul Reach that you might want to do, helping repair whatever it is. There's plenty of jobs on the bounty board. There's a load of other kind of stuff.
Jobs?
It might be flicking around all over the place with Zook to go see people, try and find out information, various things. But you essentially have this. You have about a week and 3 days until Saloon's Day, in which there is going to be this kind of festival in Soul Reach in celebration. Equally, you could say, no, we want to take it day by day, and we've got important shit that we want to specifically go and do. It is completely up to you.
Can I make a suggestion?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we take a break here and we discuss as a party what we'd like to do.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Let us have a short break and we will reconvene here in...
Are we turning the stream off?
10 minutes. I just mute it.
Yeah.
10 minutes, everyone. See you in a bit.
Da-da.
Did palanquin. That's great.
Right, we're back, but
You're
we're still on
muted,
break.
Tash.
The most elaborate sedan chair anyone's
Back, but we're
ever
still on
seen.
Yeah.
I put us back on stream, by the way, just so you know.
Nice.
Hello.
Nice.
I'm going to turn my light on because it's.
Do you want to see?
On with the lights.
Do you want to see my Reikenor so far?
Mm-hmm.
This is Reikenor so far. He's
Ooh, he's a bit more fleshy now.
he's got this.
Ooh.
I've cracked all of this bit because I wanted to move it because it didn't look right.
Yeah.
But
So what are you using to sculpt it?
milliput and then a bit of green stuff.
Oh, cool.
A bit of a mixture.
Back.
Hobby time going on.
I was just showing my sculpting of Reikenor's like creature.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very
I
cool.
like all the. You can't really see, but there's loads of detail in
Yeah,
all this.
I saw in the pictures. It looked fucking great.
Thanks, my dude. Right. Okay. So.
Yes.
Let's get back into it.
I made this from green stuff. Look how fucking great I am.
Gross.
I grew
green
it myself.
That green stuff called chlorophyll.
Fuck you, science boy.
Town music.
Hey.
Does Dutch have chlorophyll?
You know what? Actually, I will put on this music first. So,
Eat green.
the group have decided they're going to spend this time in downtime, which essentially is a bit of fast forwarded time period in which you can do some stuff. I will say that you can do many small little things, but over the kind of week, it's 8 days. No, it's a week. It's 10 days, so you can essentially do 2 bigger things during.
It's montage time,
during
baby.
That kind of period, as in like if you want to do some of the mini quests, you can probably fit 2 into that period of time. The 3 that are still in Soul Reach, so Richter and Ruthus, along with Yasha, you head through the town. You spend the next kind of couple of hours or so heading back through the town and kind of seeing how it is. You can see that the dye works on the southern side by the Radiant Gate is a crumbled, ashen kind of pile, clearly set ablaze. There's people as well as some guards there, kind of picking through, what's left, and you can see what looks to be one of the kind of production merchants who's there, just like. Shouting, finding anything that we can salvage, and he's like, it's ruined. He's like losing it. A few people kind of see you, Ruthus, moving through the town, and kind of look towards you, sort of. I guess in a way that they're kind of glad that you're still alive. You were seen to be buried beneath all of the kind of rubble and stuff. As you walk, someone kind of runs and catches up with you, and you see it's the guard from the temple is accompanying you. Clearly, wanting to see. He's been in the temple this whole time. You make your way towards the Grand Loom, and you can see that the entire kind of front-facing half. On the northern side is just completely collapsed, but there is still kind of the southern side of it. The structure, parts of it still kind of tower upwards, but it's as if a big section has just kind of fallen in on itself. There's just rubble and masonry strewn about, and in the courtyard where all the carnage took place, there are many people, as well as quite a lot of the palace guard, as well as some of the Blackfriar army, moving masonry, moving rubble. You can see there's carts with bodies on that are being taken towards the kind of western gate and out of town, where Rufus, you know that the large kind of graveyard area is outside. A little kind of bit of trivia, I guess, for the world. Saloon doesn't really tend to have like temples to Saloon churches. You would know this. Any Empire kids would know. Their Saloon doesn't really deal in death and like the afterlife and that sort of thing. So a graveyard and a church, it isn't common by the temple, and it's not.
So they don't have like funeral rites, that kind of thing.
No, it's not really dealt with in a religious way, which is bizarre.
Mass graves.
The religion. Well, there are like places, like burial places, but they're not.
Right.
They're not,
a priest
they're
of
not,
Saloon isn't going to say a special series of words
No.
over the grave.
And there isn't really any other deities that are worshipped, or the rest are sort of, they're not banned, but they're not really commonly worshipped in the Empire.
Death is cheap here.
Yeah, so it's quite like a pragmatic thing.
Yeah,
like burial and
it's not really religious in any way. It's like that's the end, and they're not going to be with Saloon in the afterlife. There isn't some place where you go. Saloon is of now. Saloon guides you in the present.
That Kofin fellow you've told me about could have done great things with those mass graves. Supposedly. I never met the man, but he sounds incredible.
So you begin kind of picking through some of the rubble and looking through town. And Yasha runs over to some of the Blackfriar men and kind of talks to them. And you see her fall to her knees.
Oh.
You go over and some of the Blackfriar guards say that they found him earlier that morning, buried in the rubble, and he was dead.
Shit.
Oh, God.
They sort of point Yasha towards where they'd taken his body. They'd taken it back to the Sun Keep, and she begins heading off in that direction.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I did some rolls, and it was unfortunate.
I'm glad I didn't immediately spend a locate creature.
You kind of wander the town for some time, and you make your way to the kind of the barracks and the guardhouse. I guess I'll say that you spend most of the day checking through the town, and I guess like what do you want to do for the majority of the day? You said you want to check town and see if everything's all right. And
yeah, pretty much. I think Rufus just kind of wants to stroll through and just kind of assess the wreckage and help anyone that he can, like in the aftermath.
I'd like to join Rufus in that. And if there's presumably because it's just happened, hasn't it? It's like it was hours ago that the uprising happened and then ended.
It was the evening and into the night of the day before.
Right. So yeah, presumably there'll probably be lots of like little infirmaries set up all over town, like little like FEMA camps or whatever. And I suppose Richter would like to offer some medical assistance where he can, that kind of thing. Nightingale shit.
Sure. The damage around the town isn't as severe as maybe you'd assumed. Like 90% of the town's fine.
We were just in the heart of the shit, basically.
So there were key places that were clearly hit or burnt to the ground by angry people, or also by these particular rebel group. The loom obviously is completely destroyed. The dye works is completely fucked. But the mint, the forge, the temple, the barracks stands pretty fine. The archives untouched, and anything north of that completely fine. The storehouses, where you imagine a lot of angry people have been also pretty badly burnt and smashed down. You gather through the day that that's probably due to not the people, but the army. The army came in. There was a lot of anger from there, and there obviously was a battle that kind of took place. Civilians against Blackfriar troops.
Oof.
in order to quell the kind of rebellion. But you know, they've done it. They've managed to do it. You know, a lot of buildings have smashed windows. There's been some minor looting. You pass by the barracks where a lot of people are being sort of brought to, and they inform you the kind of prison area is there, and there are plenty of people that they've kind of chucked in the cells that were caught looting, or you know, mugging people, or trying to murder people. There's a lot of people that they've thrown in, locked up. And
could I give a description of what you remember when I tried to stop the old man throwing tomatoes, and some hooded guy with a dirk sort of stopped me and melted into the crowd?
Oh yeah. Well, you know who that is at this point.
Oh,
that was Lamb.
Oh right. Ah, okay, right.
that was Lamb who you fought against in the square.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I got mixed up there. Great, brilliant. All right.
There's a huge kind of like poster notice board on the outside of the barracks, and you can see the same bounty board where the image of Luthar and Yenlith is. There's printed, stamped on the wanted poster. It says "Dead or Alive, Luthar and Yenlith, dangerous outlaws," and it has the seal of the silver coin and hammer, which you recognise as the Silvermark Brotherhood.
I asked some like guards, whoever's in charge, about the bounty, and asked them when these bandits last struck.
They shrug you off, and they're like, it's been up there ages.
What does ages mean?
It's been up there months. Who knows?
Okay.
There's another bounty on there. Wanted, dead or alive, a dangerous highwayman and his entire crew, known as the Seers, known to hang out near the sun-kissed bluffs.
As in Seers, S-E-E-R-S?
S-E-E-R-S, yes.
Fuck. Could we do that? That's a side quest.
That
is a side quest.
That sounds
These are all
exciting.
downtime quests. There is what looks to be a very crudely crayon-drawn little note on the bounty board that says, "My cat is lost," and there's like a little picture of a black cat, and it's like, you know, really derpy cat. Please help, and then like a little address.
Richter will draw this cat sketch into his book.
What's the reward for the Seers quest? Is there one?
It doesn't say on the. You could inquire further during your downtime if you wanted to.
Credibility.
There is also a. It's not on there. But you see, there's a woman literally pinning one up as you walk over. She looks to be kind of an older woman, not that old, maybe in her like 50s. She looks to be
crone.
Looks to be like a potentially a farmer. She's wearing kind of like a traveling cloak. She's pinning up a sign, like a little notice that that says "Curse" on Sprin Heath. And she kind of turns and looks towards both of you, and she's like, "I've come all the way. You look higher up. Will you help me in my village? There's a curse been placed on it. Nothing growing. Our spiritual guide, he's gone senile, and you know, all the sticks and wards that protected our village, they've all burnt to a crisp. I don't know what's going on, but the woods, they be moving."
The woods are moving.
She begins kind of hobbling off, putting some more up on various other places.
Oh, if she's putting multiples up, then yeah, I'll take one.
Sure, you take one.
Zook would love to hear about moving woods.
Equally, you can see people are beginning to, over the course of the day, people word begins to spread about the town that the festival of the moon is coming up on the full moon, and people are kind of encouraged to begin setting up and getting things prepared for festivities.
As we sort of make our way through the town and hear people talking about the coming festival of the moon, which I'm guessing is a kind of imperial festival, what's the vibe? Are people like excited for that, or are people like, oh, God, looking at all the rubble? Like, what's the feeling in the air about that?
Roll me an insight check.
Okay. 19.
People seem generally mainly excited.
Okay.
There are some disgruntled people that are like, "Oh, you're kidding me! I've just lost all my business, and how am I supposed to, now I've got to celebrate?" But the Festival of the Moon, you gather from your kind of listening in and stuff. It's not the first. It happens every year.
Okay.
And in
White
fact,
Night.
it happens every 6 months. It's a bit like the solstice kind of thing, but it's a
Right.
like lunar related thing that happens sort of every half year. Dylan and Dutch and Ruthus would all remember it, being Empire children. It's like Christmas-ish,
Townies.
but it happens twice, so it's like half as big as Christmas would be. But things are put up. There's like lots of kind of revelry that happens. It usually involves just like lots of celebrating, and the people tend to just drink and put loads of blue flags and ribbons up everywhere. You all right, Mike?
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
keep you on your toes.
I'll send you a message.
Did you? Okay. Let me check. You know that there's people kind of roaming about, and you get the sense that there's probably things where you can help with the rebuilding of the town if you wanted.
Yes.
Equally, there's also help preparing for the festival if you wanted. Equally, there's a bunch of other stuff that you could do. In the Church of the High Hunt, I will say, Dylan, you want to explain all that has happened. Is there anything else you want to kind of get them to do with, because they're going to now protect or at least keep captive Tellura at the church?
Yeah, so I'd like to explain, like, she's a captive, but she's not a prisoner in the sense of the term that you're going to have to mistreat her or anything like that. Not that they would, but like, keep her under lock and key, make sure she's not going anywhere.
She's got the dimensional shackles on, so she's
absolutely
not gonna,
she's not going, but keep an eye on her. But at the same time, like, I don't want her to be uncomfortable. But also at the same time, like, to ask Father Aureus and other members of the Church of the High Hunt if they are able to sort of like do some research into the entity that is bound to her in whatever way they can, like in whatever way they can help, and I can also explain how I'm pretty certain it's linked to the sort of carved mural beneath the church.
You spend, I assume you maybe spend a few hours at the church explaining this, drinking with Aureus. Blackwood, being her normal self, just scowls at you from across the room with a few of her other cronies.
She's Sundar.
And
I'd like to sort of bring her into the conversation, if that's possible.
She's on the edge of it, listening in, and
I'd like to also gauge her responses as well.
Over the course of this time, Aureus is going to sort of do an initial check over on her. Oh, that's terrible. We're a 3 and a 4. He says maybe with time he can understand it. But obviously you inform him of the fact that you saw a similar thing in this, as the same as the carving.
I'd like to say that also, that although I'm like happy that Blackwood has come round to an extent, like be wary, like of her in the fact that, like, you know, don't let her get too close to Talura.
Yeah.
While we're there, can we just inquire as to what's been going on in the Varamark over the last few days? Has there been any word of Bren's movement?
It would appear that the majority of troops, I mean, as you know, the troops kind of fell back from Varamark City when you were there, and all sort of left, taking with them quite a lot of captives, being the kind of the Vaughan taking the, you know, being kind of a pillaging nation, taking a lot of people with them. The occupation of Fieldstown is still going on. They still occupy Fieldstown, and it's basically now just been taken over by the. I haven't got all my Varamark notes with me.
Or those the forest people?
Skull?
Hang on,
I think it was the Foal.
I will check because it's important. The
Skull? Is that right?
No, it's not the Skull. Well, I mean,
Var?
there's the Var.
Vince Vaughn.
Prince Vaughn.
Yeah, it's New Vartown. I've got down.
Prince Fordry.
Yeah, it's Var.
Prince Fordry. Oh, that's a.
Have you
If
seen?
anyone's watching in the chat, if you know who Prince Fordry is, post it.
You're a cool person and a nerd. Here we
Super
go.
nerds.
It's the Var. The Var were the ones from the kind of hot spring town to the west of the Ymir forest, like to the west of Fieldstown. So the Fiel of Fieldstown have been kind of taken over by the Var. The only thing that they've heard that's kind of different to, I guess, what you already know is there has been no sightings of any Shivra at all.
Huh.
They seemingly have vanished.
Oh fuck!
Oh dear.
So we shall move on to some downtime. I'll say you spend some time there, you do everything you need to, and you take a tree back to Soul Reach once more.
Yeah, we're gonna go. Dear, no.
Are we gonna go via the tree again? Just like quickly, like.
Fuck yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Okay, in which case,
All Hammond out to watch you as well.
in which case you may need to distract Hammond. So someone make some kind of skill check.
Yeah, I'll do it. Run! I'll push him down.
As we're leaving.
Let's do a contested strength check.
Oh
I got a
my
natural
god.
20. I got a natural 20.
Oh no.
Oh
no.
You just push him and run. He sees everything.
Oh, he's gonna be so mad.
You go
He's
to
gonna be
shove him, Dutch. You go to shove him, and you push on him, and he is just like, it's like pushing a tree. It is like pushing a tree. You just go on him, and he doesn't budge, and he just clamps down on your wrists, and is like, looks over towards you, beginning to pull over the tree, shoves you to the side, begins rushing you, Zook. Make me a contested grapple.
I cast polymorph on him, turning him into a ferret.
Well, are you already opening the tree?
Oh God! No, I'm waiting for Dutch. Dutch isn't here.
Okay, he needs to make a what kind of save?
A wisdom saving throw. Just relax.
A 14.
No, that failed.
So what does he turn into?
A ferret.
A ferret. He just into a ferret, and you all begin to rush through the tree.
I'm sorry. You'll be okay in an hour.
The ferret like goes towards you, but close the tree up, and it hits the tree, and you make your way back to Soul Reach. Where are you popping out? The same tree?
No, we're actually going to go in a tree just outside the city, maybe one that we saw on our approach, and come in from
outside.
Okay.
Oh,
So
haven't.
I will say that you collectively meet up, and
I'm so
Who
sad
would
Rachel
like
wasn't
to-
there for that.
who would like to start? Who would like to start first? Maybe we do Mike, because Mike's got to go soon.
Yeah,
That's
sounds
all right.
So, Dutch, what would you like to do during your downtime?
Okay.
Side quest.
First things first, I want to read my book.
Mm-hmm.
How long do I need to read it for?
48
hours.
How much have you read?
11.
So yeah, half your time will be spent, let's say, reading the book and doing some other minor things. If there's anything minor you want to do.
Yeah, that's cool. Also, I'd like to get in touch with Rufus's nephew,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd like to ask him for some new armor because there was an axe in this one, and I'd like some money for protecting his child.
You go and see Christoph, and you also see Celeste, and
Obviously, I ask how the mother and baby are doing first.
she's in sort of mourning for because her father's died, but Christoph turns to you and he's like, right, oh yes, so Celeste has encouraged me to be more generous, so thanking all of you, the Gypsies of Fortune. He rewards you all 500 gold pieces each for the protection of Soul Reach and all your valiant efforts. So you can all write down 500 gold.
Yep.
You all have.
Yeah.
And what about my armor?
Roll me a persuasion check.
Shit. So that's a 5.
He kind of scoffs
It's
and is like,
in a sort of endearing way.
"Ha, you're quite funny," and he walks off.
Bollocks.
Is there anything else, like small things you want to do during the first half?
Yeah.
As you're walking through town, Dutch, you can see people are kind of helping clear and move debris, and you can see people are preparing for the festival. I'll say you've all informed each other of the various things that were on the notice board. So there are some, there's like things that you could do with the rest of your time.
Okay, let's say if they go on the quest straight away, I won't go with them. If they go after, I will go.
We need to go back to Elwyn Tor, don't we? To see the Soul Reach guards that we accosted
Tied up
beneath.
Dutch has no interest in that. He'll go
He's
shopping.
going to leave someone else to do that.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Shopping. You can anything that's in the normal equipment list. You can do that in like out of game time.
Cool. What about the magic shop? Did that explode?
No, the magic stop's still there, but the stock hasn't changed from since you were last there.
Well, that's shit. So yeah, I'll see what the other guys want to do for the rest of the half.
Cool.
I'll
Okay.
just basically whatever Dylan does for the other 7 days, I'll just go with him. And when stuff needs punching, I'll punch it.
Okay. During this kind of first half of the week, Dutch, as you're kind of making your carousing the streets, the preparations are kind of coming along, but one of the days, and you'd all be kind of aware of this, whoever is around, some of you might not be around, this is all kind of weird time. There's a sort of small parade that happens outside of the Elven Embassy. People seeming to arrive from Xanthar City. You see what looks to be a you hear someone in the crowd refer to them as the Cardinal of the Lunar Gate. Someone else, I guess with your carousing, you quite easily hear people talk about a Finenia Quell, who is the Cardinal of the Lunar Gate, who is here to bless the child. The child has been given a name. The child's name is Silaris. Pronounced in the elven tongue, Silaris. With some of the stuff that you notice, Dutch, is the figure very, very classic kind of Quell, like one of the kind of higher up noble people of the Empire, a bit like Waylon. The same kind of features, but that of a a highborn moon elf. Very tall, very slender, long pointed ears, hair that kind of runs down in front of the ears and then also the back. There's that kind of like
that little.
Her head is like her hair is braided kind of immaculately, but she looks well into her later years. However, she is she's flanked by like a retinue of priests and other kind of people from the city, from the capital. You can tell they're from the capital almost immediately. You recognize the kind of style of Xanthar. It is this kind of almost extravagant, slightly I want to say in the human world, in Earth, it would be sort of like Italian Rome meets kind of eccentric fashion in a kind of explosion of multicultural exotic.
We talking Renaissance?
Yeah, it's very Renaissance. Yeah.
They're like thinking, and excuse the comparison, but very much the capital in from the Hunger Games.
Yeah. It is
like,
it is
but a bit more, a bit more medieval.
It's like a Renaissance version of that. Yeah. But the elves, the priests are very kind of demure. Yeah, but it's all still very sort of extravagant. They are flanked. The Cardinal of the Lunar Gate are flanked by two giant creatures. It immediately like shivers kind of tingle across your body as you watch from the crowd. They stand maybe 10, 11 feet high, kind of towering above most people. Right. Their head is that of just a metal sheet, kind of bald helmed head. No eye slits, no mouth, no nothing.
It just goes silent.
Cloak and robes. Me? What?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's fine.
Cloaks and robes kind of draped around it. They stand kind of like hunched, and so they would be even taller if they stood. Their arms are long, kind of almost dragging to their kind of mid shin. You can see kind of metal armor underneath their robes are sort of almost tattered, like shreds, but purposely done, not like they've been shredded.
I'm imagining 40k Eldar, the walkers that they've got. Do you know what I'm talking about?
If you've played Divinity, these look very much like the Geists. It's like
that's exactly what I was thinking as you were describing.
Almost the same. Like their hands are big and almost clawed.
Extended fingers.
And they flank either side of her, and with their kind of heads scan across the crowds. People kind of step back from them. Dutch, you recognize these creatures. You've seen them a couple times in Xanthar City. They are known as Inquisitors.
Oh boy.
They are.
That doesn't sound good.
They are used by the essentially the most high up people in the Empire, part of the Inquisition, to root out corruption, and when they need things done, these creatures will do the bidding of those people.
These guys sound sick.
They are known to kind of they're not human. They're not they have no emotion, personality. They can't talk. They just act under the will of whoever controls them, essentially.
Sick. Justice golems.
Kind of, yeah. You get kind of like shivers. You were taught as a young criminal in Xanthar that these things, if one ever got the scent of you, you were burnt. You were burnt you were kicked out from every single criminal underworld. Like the criminal underworld fears these things. Even
Like
even
if the
Randala
KGB
is like
had
afraid
magic.
of these things.
They're like the agents from the Matrix. Yeah.
Like if they had reason to come for, let's say, the dock rats would have to just disband, and likely Randala would just be torching her entire chamber, and these things are fucking crazy. So you just, you're obviously a lot stronger now, but you're instilled with this like, oh shit, that's an
That's
inquisitor.
bad juju.
Go and punch it.
It's bad juju.
So for the first, we'll save the second half of your bit, Dutch. Then does anyone else want to? What do they want to do for their first half?
Oh, I've actually got some notes
Go for it.
that I'd taken
I'm
from.
gonna-
So
My dude.
Are you going to shoot off?
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Finish what you need to
Second
do.
half of my week,
Oh,
I'll
okay.
be with Dylan.
Okay. Okay. You stick with your
See you
bro.
later.
All right.
Au
See
revoir.
you later.
Love
See
ya.
you later.
Cool.
Do you want to sort out the stream
I
stuff?
did.
I guess.
It works out quite well because Aiden, I can put in Aiden because I can hide non-video and not. So it's
Of course, yeah.
So it all works out fine. It just means I've got to put a picture of Mike up.
So
Nice one.
first thing is I'd like to speak to Richter.
Dylan, hello.
I'd like to relay. Probably easier if I just sort of like, because you were there for it
we'll
anyway.
expedite.
So you were there for the when I got sent the letter from Dylan's half brother Union Grey. Do you remember this?
Vaguely, yes.
Yeah.
So Drow he was sitting on the roof of that tavern, and the
Yes.
the crow came back.
The silver, yeah.
The raven.
And I would ask of Richter, explaining this. Richter, would you be able to send a message to Union explaining that we will be hopefully heading to Xanthar within a week and a half?
I would love to. I feel like I need to be familiar with the person to send a message. Do I not?
Yeah. So I will use a disguise self to make myself look like Union, and I will probably have to use a hybrid transformation to actually get the memories of Dylan, so I remember this as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So
Cool. Yeah,
and also Union can respond to that. So obviously I'd like to hear whether or not Union has any insight onto how long Elderwick has left.
Yes. I relate Dylan's message.
So Richter, in your head, you hear a message come back. Tell him he's holding on. Things are troubling here. I'm not sure what to do. I'll see you in a week. And that's the end.
Okay.
He says he's holding on. He's not sure what to do. Things are troubling, and that he'll see you in a week.
And following this, I'd like to have a conversation with Zook regarding, and probably Rufus as well, because I haven't actually. The only person I've told about the letter, about the Silver Raven that I received. So I need a discussion with Rufus and Zook, sort of explaining about the message that I received, hoping that they will be happy and to travel to Xanthar, so that I might be able to catch the last moments of Dylan's father's last days.
Of course. Zook wholeheartedly agrees to this.
And I'll explain, obviously, that I've had a discussion with Dutch about this, and that he's in agreement that this is something that should be done. Yeah, and finally, I'd also like to say that I left the Silver Raven with Father Aureus in case he needs to contact us.
Very cool. Yeah.
Nice.
Good idea.
Yeah. And that's me
Oh,
done.
yeah. He looks. Aureus is confused. He's kind of like, how did you come by this? And questions you about, because he had it originally and it was stolen.
Yeah, have no idea. Have no idea how it got back to it.
What would you like to do with your first week? What else? Well, first half of this downtime.
So I'd like to obviously convene with the others and then arrange going back to Elwyntor and to release the prisoners, make sure that they're okay, and arrange transport with them back to Soul Reach, and whatever repercussions may come of that.
Okay. Are you gonna take a trip down yourself?
Well, it's. I mean, I'm at the disposal of Rufus and Zook, obviously, who has the ability to transport us. But this is more of a collective decision, isn't it? Really.
I mean, chiming in, I'll probably say on the second day I could cast Windwalk right in the morning, so anyone could just go wherever they want on that day.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
However, one of the things Rufus would like to do.
Yeah, it's not concentration.
Coinciding with that, Rufus wanted to chat to Celeste and see if we can arrange the reunion of Heath's family and himself.
Okay, so we'll kind of I think this is going to how we're going to have to do it quite fluid. Rufus, roll me a persuasion check.
I'm gonna. Can it be with advantage? Because we chat for like a minute and then I would get advantage, right?
Sure.
Schmooze them.
Rouge. It's a 16 that becomes a 28.
Christoph is like, certainly not. We're not releasing them, Uncle. And kind of essentially puts it off. He's like, there's no way. He's a fucking idiot, and I've never liked him. And we keep his family here so he doesn't get up to any mischief. He can stay in his tower. And however, Celeste is more persuaded, and she kind of calms Christoph as his better half, and eventually he kind of relinquishes into it and agrees on the condition that Heath come to him and apologize to him for all that he's done.
Sure. Okay.
So if Zook casts Windwalk in the morning, sort of at the beginning, everyone's able to shoot off to wherever they want. So you can, whoever wants to go down could go down. Equally, whoever wants to go other places for other quests could.
So for the second day, I was going to stay with Richter and take him down to the river to get pure.
Of course, yeah.
To get pure.
That sounds good.
Maybe Dylan
pure.
and Rufus could go down to Elwyntor together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
We'll have Dutch with us as well, of course. So.
Well, Dutch is reading and doing things.
Okay, well, I'll leave Dutch reading.
So Rufus and Dylan, you head down to Elwyntor and track into the woods to find where Heath and his sort of estate crew are hiding out. He hears the story of what's happened in Soul Reach, and you kind of over a period of time walking back to the tour, he kind of comes around to the fact that the rebellion was a bad idea with this extra. He'd kind of given up. He never wanted this.
Yeah.
And he's really pleased that you found this alternative way that hopefully with words and persuasion and intellect the day can be bested by helping the people in a different way. And he's just over the moon grateful for the fact that you've managed to rescue his family. You go to the tour, and I would like you both to roll me a D100.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
So just 2d10s, is it?
Yeah, 2d10. Well,
They've-
yeah.
Yeah,
They've
no,
all
I choose
started-
one, which is the one and the
They've all started a hippie commune and are taking mushrooms in the forest and never want to leave.
I got a 72.
Okay, so the blue dice is the
The single digit. And
Yeah.
The
the
percentile
red
is
dice.
the
Yeah.
10.
No, I've only got 2d10, so I have to choose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'll do it that way around, as Rupert said. So
Yeah.
24.
24 and a 70. What?
72.
Okay. He kind of rummages around the tour and he says, I must give you something in return. And he hands Dylan. He hands you. He kind of says, either of you can take these essentially. But what you rolled, Dylan, he hands you this small ring. It's kind of like a kind of milky and turquoise little banded ring, and on top what looks to be a lotus flower. It's very pretty and kind of dainty, but wafting from it is the most delicious smell of what smells to you like a roast dinner.
Is it perhaps roasted pheasant with gooseberry jam?
It is indeed. He passes you over the perfume ring. Partridge, sorry. It is the perfume ring from James's.
James
Gifford's magical
what an
sorted items.
incredible selection of magical items from James Gifford. Holy shit, my nuts are on fire. I cannot believe these items.
Oh.
My God, tell us about them.
Yeah, they're just some great magical items. Homebrew for your 5e campaign. Get them while they're hot. Mr. James Gifford.
Oh, it's that DIY loveliness, baby. It's bathtub magical items. You can't even get this on the regular markets. Oh, baby.
Richter, how much do you want to roast right now?
Oh, Lordy, I would love one.
Once a day, you can emit any scent or smell wearing this in a 5-foot radius, and it lasts an hour.
Is it attuned or no?
Pheromone.
It doesn't require attunement, which is a nice little one. And he hands
got an
you,
Omniblade.
You, Ruthus, a pair of spectacles. They are the Archivist's spectacles. They're like these really intricate with like a few little lenses. He's like, I used to use these when I was in the archives. It helps. It helps a lot. These are rare and require attunement. They give you advantage to Arcana and History knowledge checks when you wear them. And the wearer of these spectacles can read books 3 times as fast as normal.
Sick.
Once a day you can cast comprehend languages for reading only, but it does require attunement. That is the Archivist spectacles.
Very
nice. To just power read the book.
James, stop it.
Have you written that down, Josh?
I'll take a picture of them and send them over to you.
I've written it
Ambassador,
down
with these magical items, you are truly spoiling us.
I'll post them in the group. You spend your time there and you make your way.
The guards, are they okay?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Hasn't been too long.
No, it's only been just over
a day.
A day or two.
They're probably pretty hungry, so we should bring them some food.
They have been being fed. Heath has sent one of the kind of estate workers to kind of sneak in with some bread and keep them fed for a bit. You go down and Wolf and his kind of group are there. I guess what are you doing? Are you just releasing them? Are you letting them know what happened? What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could fill them in like briefly and just say like you're free to go. Obviously, yeah.
Soz.
Soz for your dead.
Wolf says that you will pay for the crimes you've committed here. You killed innocents for no good reason, and he shall be reporting all that has happened here to Christoph.
Can we interject as well, and explain? So, I don't know if Ruthus wants to maybe helm it, just the fact that you came as someone who was ejected from their home. You had no idea what you'd come to expect to what you'd expect when returning to your home, and that your actions were probably, like actually justified in the fact that, we were expecting to be treated not very well upon entering the province.
Yeah, absolutely.
sure.
And then also like trying to, like, obviously through telling him what's happened, like hopefully as a reasonable man, he can see that like what the outcome has been is for the greater good and potentially have saved like many more lives. Hopefully.
Roll me a persuasion check with advantage, because you were speaking to him for a while.
Ooh, it's a 30.
A 30.
Oh, no.
Are you asking him to not tell anyone, or are you asking him to kind of still tell people, but in a way that is like it was justified?
Rufus is not ashamed of his actions, and he will bear the brunt, if he needs to. But like, I'm trying to convince him that it was justified and that, see the bigger picture here. Wolf. You
buddy.
dingus.
Yeah, you think you've got through to him, but you're unsure what he'll still do. You make your way back to Soul Reach. What are you spending the rest of your time doing?
Over the whole period, Rufus is going to also read as much of his book as he can.
Okay, so maybe you spend the first half then polishing off your book and doing a few other little things in town if you want to.
Are you using your archivist classes to do so?
Oh yeah, of course I could do. Yeah, I'll unattune from my sandals briefly, and then attune to the glasses, whenever I need to.
In which case, I will say that you can probably read your book without having to spend all that time. You can just do it in the evenings, in which case your time is free to do something else if you wished.
Might I interject here with a rough plan from the first few days? So
Sure.
Going back to when we returned to Soul Reach, what I'd like to do is go see Richter, go over basically the fact I'm going to cure him of his ailment, hopefully in the morning, and that evening, and maybe many evenings for the first part of the week, I'd like to ask him if he would sit with me and teach me the Ignan dialect of Primordial, and to try and basically clue me up on how to speak Ignan so I can teach or communicate with Cinder. Just doing that in the evenings.
It would be an honor.
Yeah, maybe just shoot the shit as well about everything that's going on.
I'll remind you, you do have a ring of comprehend languages. It doesn't let you speak it; just lets you understand.
No, I want to like learn about the fire elemental and about what it is to become. Also, maybe just say like I'm pretty bemused because that we've seen elementals as druids occasionally throughout the forest, and we always thought them to be eternal spirits. The fact that they have children and grow up is a whole new concept to me, to Zook. So he's baffled by that. So in the morning, I'll take Richter down to the river, and I'll float around. I imagine like Richter can maybe like walk into the river or something.
Yes, Richter will walk into the river, and while he's in there, just for the sake of things and to keep it fresh, he'll perform the purification ritual that he learned from the Orcish child near High Canopy.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, you can find some river reeds there too, so you're able to chant and dance and make the circle.
Yeah, we might make it
the land.
Nice and good. And then I'll slowly like float around, like just in a little circle, almost orbiting Richter, as Zook's like hovering above the water, and he kind of is pulling like the water's kind of flowing up Richter's body and round, coiling around his arm, and as I attempt to draw the darkness out of him, casting Greater Restoration to remove a curse.
I would like you to make roll a d20 and add your wisdom modifier to it.
Come on! It's a 16.
16. You moving the water around the arm over and over, the magic does not take hold and is unable to sort of pass through and break through this magical barrier. The curse remains.
Okay. I say never mind in Primordial, and then tell him that that's never mind in Primordial.
Zook nods and says thank you in common.
I then teach him the word for thank you in Primordial. Just the sound of rocks smashing together in my mouth. Yeah.
There's Ignan, there's
Oren, Aquan, and
they're all
Terran.
like variants of Primordial.
Oh, okay. Well, I focus on the fire one then, and I just sort of like make noises at him. Ignan. I'm Ignan.
Your natural one is, which is the air one?
He's ignorant to ignorant at the moment.
Oren, Richter, out of interest, Oren is the one that you just kind of go to immediately, and is the one that seems most natural to you.
Right.
The rest are like offshoots of that, but you still somehow are aware of them from the sequence.
It makes sense that the sound of the wind would be the most relatable thing to a voice.
So you spend some time doing that.
Failing that, I'll say sorry, and that I'll try again tomorrow morning. And I'll go
Just
find
so you
Ruther.
know, the DC gets harder every time you try.
Okay.
To the point where it may not even be able to be undone.
Okay. Interesting. Zook doesn't know that, so.
I think you understand it through the use of your magic.
Yeah.
Every time you're
maybe
trying
feel
it,
the curse. Seep further into his body. Okay.
It's kind of like a general game rule. If you're trying something more than once over and over again, it's going to be harder.
Gets harder.
Is it harder for Zook or harder for just generally?
In terms of this curse, or in terms of in general?
No, just in general. Like, I don't know. Like, say what you will. I don't. Because my point is, you could bring none other than Varian along with you.
Oh, I see.
Assist,
and
with
that,
the greater restoration.
Yeah, you could potentially get advantage on the roll, but it's not that every time anyone tries, it's going to get harder and harder.
Going to get harder, sure. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm assuming the DC was 20, and now it's going to be like 25.
So I'll have to roll a crit. So yeah. Anyway,
it
failing
usually
that,
goes up by 2, but you don't know.
Failing that, I'll go find Rufus and see if he is available in the afternoon to guide me around the tomes. I can't remember what the library's called in the province.
Archives.
Sunset Archives. I want him basically to help me look for anything on subterranean dragons. I want to find out about subterranean dragons and see if
that's interesting. You would say, because Rufus will now spend the rest of his time in the archives also with the glasses, looking for any and all information about Carmoon, or a blue man, or his boys, or creatures with multiple limbs.
I feel like Draug could assist with this as well.
Sure, I will say this is like a big thing. So this is going to be like the thing that you do for half your time is looking in the archives.
Yeah.
So in that case, I guess all of you are doing that for that period of time.
Do we get another big thing after this, or
there's two kind of big things that you can do? Yeah.
Okay.
And archive searching kind of comes under many days of pouring through books and looking and stuff. So in which case, each of you can make me a roll. But if Draug is assisting someone else, then you can have advantage.
Do you want me to do the check, to helm the check, Rufus?
What kind of check is it?
Is it investigation?
Oh, yeah. Well, it can either be an investigation, or a history, or a arcana, depending on kind of what it is you're looking for.
Investigation for me is +12, so I don't know if that is preferable.
if you're all searching, you can all roll separately. If you're searching for kind of
Yeah.
different stuff.
So we're
Yeah,
all
I got-
searching for the Carmoon related stuff. So
Well, I was
Well,
looking for
Zook's
stuff,
looking for subterranean dragons.
but I got a
yeah,
5.
of course, yeah.
So
It's up to you, Rufus. Whatever you wish.
You got a 5, Rupert.
yeah, I rolled a 3. Plus
Well, if I'm helping Zook, will he get advantage on that?
If you also have investigation as a tag skill, you can assist him.
Oh no, I don't. I've got history.
I used history
You didn't.
because it.
Who do you want to help? Do
Mine.
you want me to help Zeke, or do you want me to help you, Rufus?
Mine's less important, to be honest. I'd help Rufus.
Well, Rufus already gets advantage with the spectacles, so there's no point helping.
Yeah,
true.
yeah. So you
Oh
help.
yeah, okay, all right.
So
Here we go.
Do you want me to? I'll help. How about I help Rufus? How about I help and I roll?
He's already rolled.
I've rolled.
Okay.
But
But I
I
could
can
roll
roll
separately, couldn't I? I could roll separately.
You
We
can
could
roll
both
separately and do the same thing, but it's going to be harder.
Okay. Well, what do you?
I still think you've got a good chance of doing it. To be fair,
Okay. Let's like. I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go.
better
Shall
than
I?
my +2.
Go for it.
Oh no!
What was it?
I rolled a 2, but it's a 4. It does become a 14.
A 14.
Hmm.
So you both struggle in these archives. These archives are dark. The archivists that kind of walk among them have those. You know, it's like Heath. He's followed by dancing lights. You have to be kind of accompanied by them. It's really dark in here because the papers are so old. They don't want light to be affecting them. You have to use ook to kind of look loads. It's just not ideal. Your
Yeah.
reading abilities aren't the same as they once were. Like you have to look through Ook's eyes, and Ook's got weird owl vision, and it's just a bit fucky and weird. But yeah, you find some stuff. You find some dragon-related kind of almost like a bestiary that goes over dragons. It talks about the differences of all of the chromatic dragons and all of the metallic dragons. If you want, like, you essentially learn the info about those, and kind of what their breath types are and what their kind of their immunity is, which is usually the same as what their kind of breath is. For example, a red dragon breathes fire, and they're obviously immune to fire. But you learn about the metallic ones too. But there's nothing about subterranean other types of
elusive.
dragons. Rufus, have you rolled?
Oh yeah. So, can I use history for this?
You can use history, yeah. You can use history, or you can use investigation, or you can use arcana, or you can use religion. Any of the or nature. It depends what the thing is, because intelligence doesn't get enough love, and you can choose which intelligence-based skill is the one you're kind of using.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be history because with advantage now. Is a natural 20.
Oh.
Which becomes
A 26.
26.
Oh.
Very good.
So you were looking for quite a few different things. You were looking for essentially Carmoon related, bad guy related stuff, like the boys. What were you looking at specifically with the boys?
I said that kind of
Yeah,
lightheartedly.
as in the Devil Twins. You think, or what are you thinking of?
Yeah, I guess specifically for Carmoon and reference to the blue figure that Talura mentioned, and then if there's any reference to Carmoon having minions, maybe 2 of them, or I don't know. Do you know?
Maybe anything about the Nuncio of Desparta.
What is that?
That's Malik.
Okay. Yeah.
The Nuncio of Despater.
Despater.
Basically, thinking about what we heard,
Of Despater.
finding out about Carmoon, and then realizing that potentially it has a link to Bren and sounding familiar. Yeah.
You search. You spend days searching in the archives and asking around for it, and you find You don't find any information with the name Carmoon. That doesn't come up anywhere in your researches. But there are things that kind of come up in related books and other kind of histories that could potentially they could loosely be related to certain things, like that kind of you read something about something and leads you on to something else and you're like, oh, that's kind of sounds familiar or sounds interesting. There is a history of the essentially like the land that used to be the Varamark. It's probably an old Varamarkian tome of some kind that's been translated over the years, but it's from the perspective of the Empire, and it talks about the kind of frozen land that once was a fiery waste. Demons and devils walked this kind of this realm until one day there was the Great Rejuvenation, where rain began to fall on this land and trees began to sprout, and it eventually started to swing the opposite direction. And as the trees and things flourished in the cooling temperature, it slowly got colder and colder and colder until the land began to freeze over. Some say that the land itself is still getting colder each passing year, and it's kind of reversing itself into an ice age. There is talk of a few like kind of key figures in this. A figure whom struck out into the frozen wastes. A creature that dwelt within these kind of like molten layers and has since been frozen there after this kind of fiery land was covered in ice, and now is kind of sitting and holding court over this land. It talks of far into the frozen wastes, a wizard, a powerful wizard, who began to once from the lands beyond, like beyond the Empire, but not of the Varamark, once of lands far away, came to this place and essentially tampered with powers of the other world, powers of undeath, powers of kind of necromancy, and tried to kind of force their way into power. There's like kind of extracts from negotiations with the early Empire when they first came to this land. This character sending their envoys in its place to speak with the Empire and negotiate with them, trying to gain power and gain knowledge of of magic and scrolls and any sort of magical artifacts that it could find. To the point where there was an event that kind of took place where the land was left kind of scarred. This is from the perspective of like an elderly elvish scholar from the Empire who traveled and saw this kind of event take place. The land was fragmented and is now full of kind of like spires of ice where the actual ground itself was torn upwards in an event, an unnamed event, but an event in which afterwards the first of the fleshy creatures that came out from the Varamark existed. In the book, they don't refer to them as Shivra; they call them some other elvish name. but you can kind of see how Shivra might be the kind of Varamarkian interpretation of that. You can look into, if you want to look into kind of devil related stuff, you could. This is the kind of, that's the essentially all that there is to do with Carmoon.
It's quite
You
insightful.
rolled very well.
Yeah, I guess I'll look into the devils as well.
You try and find their specific names, but they don't come up. But yes, you look up. Zook reminds you the nuncio of Dispater, and you, having looked that up, you find there is a tome on the realms of hell and the different layers of hell. You find that there's a lot of noise in your background, Theo.
Ladies, be quiet.
That's me.
The Dispater is a person. It is a devil, an arch devil. Dispater was the lord of Dis, Dis, the Urbane Iron Duke, he's also referred to as, ruled the Iron City from within his Iron Tower. He is like the commander of that entire layer of hell, which is, I believe, which layer of hell is it?
Today, kids, we're visiting the fourth layer of hell.
This is the second layer of hell, of the 9 hells. And Dispater is...
The what? The second?
It's the second layer in the 9 layers of hell. And Dispater is the arch, essentially like the arch regent of that layer. There's a depiction of him in the book. He is a cloven-hoofed, bald, goateed, very, very classically devilish-looking character. 2 horns, small horns, very, very thin, pointed on the front of his forehead. He has like a kind of gnarled staff in one hand and a tail that's kind of like purple with a point to the end. It doesn't look like Malik or Vishik. You don't read anything about Nuncio. You're not really sure what that means.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Amazing. Am I able to look at another subject, or is that enough?
I think you rolled very well. What's the third one?
I guess rumors of powerful stones, and where they might be found.
There is the only thing about that is the history of the Sunstone. There is a brief history where it talks of the excursion into the land that's now known as the Varamark, where there was a war that was fought sort of over the Rift, which is the area between, and it was brought back as like a spoil of war. It was originally brought from, and it marks on the map. Let's move over to the main map. It marks on the map here, by these mountains, a great battle took place where a city once stood, and it was taken from there.
Ooh, okay. Cool.
The city was known as... I'm going to have to find my history notes. Hang on. I love this. I love lore dump stuff where I can just tell you about cool shit.
I've got the somewhere in my stack of books, I've got the 3.5 edition Book of Vile Darkness that lists all the Lords of Hell. Is that still applicable, or is 5th edition or is this campaign using different material?
Most of D&D has always been the same. So yeah, it probably is the same.
Right. All right. Well, I'll try not to go through that.
The stuff I just read out is like, it's in my campaign, but it equally is like the D&D stuff, which is like classic. Theo, you're muted.
Eric, isn't it? Yeah. Sorry, there's a lot of noise going on, so I decided to mute myself. Yeah.
It was called Bogrion.
Bogrion.
Bogrion
Nice.
was the name of the
Bulgarion.
the
Sounds
place.
boggy.
Not a place worthy of the Sunstone. That's for sure.
That's what it was called.
We had to reclaim this fine relic from this hideous place.
And that concludes the first sort of half of your findings. Richter, what are you doing in your first week? Everyone else has completed theirs.
First thing, Richter will just send a quick message via sending to Silas, informing her of what's going on and telling her to inform Siegfried, who hopefully is, I believe Siegfried's arrived. I think we already went over that.
Siegfried
Hopefully
was making her way back to Baramak City. But
sure,
kind of,
if she,
meandering through the Baramak and kind of.
Oh yeah, she's off having side quest DLC adventures to be covered at another time. So yeah, I'll tell Siegfried to inform Folletti if Siegfried isn't there, and hopefully her common's good enough now that she can do that. And I end it with a little. Anyway, after that, for the first few days, Rick is going to help with a bit of the repair work around. He's going to go to like some of the, he's going to go to the Great Loom where presumably there's going to be relief, minor relief centers, that kind of thing. He'll do a little bit of medicine here. People who are missing relatives, he'll try and do like locate creature, and if he doesn't get a ping, he'll just sort of shake his head sadly. He'll also, if anyone's got like family out of town that they, they're like, oh god, no, they don't know what's happened, he'll like do some sending for people, just like basic sort of humanitarian work, that kind of thing.
And you're doing that. And then also, that's like the main thing that you're going to get up to.
I was gonna say,
you can do some small things,
the other thing I wanted to do is
helping with repairs and that sort of thing is probably your first half. You can do like some small.
Sure,
things
you know what? Yeah, that'll probably because I sort of wanted to go to the archive too, but no, you know what? This is with the hunger somewhat sublimated lately. Richter will probably feel his paladin's call to help the wounded. He can't really go through an archive when he can see smoke out the window. So, yeah, that's probably what he's going to mostly focus on, is doing that. And also, if you can, doing a bit of, as people start to set up for this festival, maybe like help draw some posters, that kind of thing, get into the spirit of it.
Okay. I'd like you to roll me a strength, an athletics check.
21.
21.
Ooh,
you spend the first week, doing all what you said, helping out. You kind of do some humanitarian kind of helping out in town.
Also, spreading the good word of, Rufus, Suncrest and whatnot. Like, good. Yeah, this is good propaganda. Hey, everyone, remember who's helping.
I
am an extension of Rufus Suncrest.
Exactly, I'm his representative.
You help for, you spend the first few days then helping. You start to chat and get to know a man, a kind of burly guy, who let me just move us back to the map of Soul Reach real quick. You get chatting to this kind of burly
strapping man.
Just checking his name.
Fuck, but I am.
Tells you his name is Strognor Redspire. He's a dwarf with like a real mane of bright red hair. He's helping out loads and kind of helping. And after your time of helping out, he recognizes sort of your charity and your good nature and being someone who helped in the town. And maybe one of the last days that you're helping, you're carrying a bunch of stuff back towards his. And he is the owner of the Molten Star Forge. And as thanks for helping the town, he says that he will he can spend some time, maybe the next half of the week, making a masterwork, whatever you want. He says he can. A masterwork is basically a non-magical +1 thing. He's a very skilled craftsman, and he, as a reward, says he can either improve something you've already got, or that isn't magical, or create something new that is a +1.
Ooh, baby. Richter is feeling he should probably consult with the party, but he is feeling a little selfish.
He wants you to have this reward. This is a you reward.
Richter looks about himself. He doesn't have any sort of go-to weapons that need repairing, and his Rook's halberd is just very fine on its own. But he does realize he does not have a helm. He does not have a helm, and so he asks if Strognor would be able to, put his dwarven might towards forging a kind of forging a helm that Strognor would be proud of, that Strognor would be glad to see looming over evildoers as they are cut down and helping innocents rise to their feet once again.
Yep, he nods. He says he could, as well as kind of creating this helm as part of it, he could improve your armor that you're currently wearing. And maybe
absolutely.
Add in some details, some banding, get those extra
that would be
plates in where they're needed.
Oh yes, please to armor me up, Strognor. I feel that. Yes.
He says he hands you you wear plate, right? Full plate.
Full plate.
He hands you a sort of spare pair of full plate in the meantime, which is a little shoddy, but will do the job in case you run into trouble. And he takes yours, and you will at the end of the downtime receive your armor will be a +1 armor, and you'll get a cool helm, which is cool.
Oh, I'm very excited about that. Oh, this was a good decision.
You did a good deed, and you got a good thing.
Yes, paladin, not just a warlock. Oh no.
So you've all ended your first half. Who wants to do their second half?
Oh shit. I'm intrigued by. I was just thinking about maybe in the morning, could I try and brew some potions with Dylan?
That's you can do. That's like a little thing.
A little thing. Yeah, I want to try and brew one more potion of growth, if I can.
Make me an alchemist check.
Am I being? Is Dylan
With
helping?
aid.
With aid. Here we go. Oh, not amazing. Alchemist is intelligence plus proficiency, isn't it? So that's a 15. Rolled a 1 and an 8.
In alchemy, but you.
Yeah.
15. That is the DC. I'm almost positive that's the DC. It doesn't say on the card, but James, I literally brewed the same thing up in the other campaign in a 15.
Yeah.
And I'll take James's DM word for that. Yep, you can add a potion of growth or giant strength. Which one were you doing?
Growth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then can I also try and brew a potion mixing some pepper berries and elemental water as the snap and crackle as I pestle and mortar it into a fiery, spicy kind of.
We're making sriracha.
Making sriracha. Potion of fire breath, hopefully.
Ooh, okay. So.
It's a natural 20.
Oh, of course it is.
Well.
Well, with the help of Brother Draug and his alchemist skills, you both managed to brew up some nice potions for the crew.
Hallelujah.
What else would you like to do during this time? You can consult each other if you don't all have to go and do one of these things together.
I had an idea. Would we be able to pop back to Ungmiri with Varian? And
you don't know where Varian is.
Oh, do we not know where he is?
No, you haven't been able to locate him.
We haven't been able to locate him at all.
No.
He's butt naked, drunk in some creek with a waterfall flowing over him.
Do you
went
have
back to
started a very ill-fated cult?
Does Zook have any more revivify abilities?
Yes, he does.
Could we pop back to Ungmiri and bring Jin back to life?
Possibly. I will need to first acquire 1,000 gold's worth of oils and unguents.
Brother
We can all
Drow,
chip
roll
in.
me an investigation check, please.
Okay.
I fear it has been too long.
It's pretty good. It's
The
gonna
worms
be.
are already feasting.
It's gonna be a 27.
Okay. You do some searching around. You ask some questions. You sleuth some places, some known watering holes, and eventually Varian, son of Vadron, turns up.
Son of a bitch.
You find him wallowing in the gilded pool. He's absolutely shit-faced. He's been shit-faced for days, supposedly. He's been wandering around.
He's a
Pouring,
new
no
infected
doubt.
piercing.
I hope he still has those diamonds that we actually no. Me and Dutch bought the diamonds.
Yeah, you bought
That's
those. He's plastered, but he agrees to going with you. He's like, "Oh, Dylan, where have you been? There was smoke in the sky, and by Bahamut's wings, the north wind blew strong." And he just like throws up a bit into the pool.
This is the guy that summoned the platinum dragon.
Yeah, but there's conflict in his
he's
backstory.
hit
That's the
rock
beauty.
bottom.
Yeah.
He's hit rock bottom.
This pithead made a pilgrimage happen.
I'll say that using Zook's magical abilities, you transport Varian back to Emiri, to the Grove. He sobers up. You slap some sense into him with some tea, and you maybe take a trip back towards the end of the week when he's sobered himself and he's feeling very sorry for himself. And there in the Grove, using your 1,000 gold's diamond that is now used, so someone needs to mark that as gone.
Yeah.
Varian
Dutch.
performs an amazing ritual. He takes the essentially what is the bag of bits of rotten viscera that was gin, that hasn't been kept on ice. It's just it's going bad.
Sluicy.
It's a load of
Bag of
bad
chum.
bits. He chucks it over his shoulder and he says he needs to do this alone, and he wanders out into the fields and off sort of towards the mountains, and returns later that day. I need to make a roll.
Oh.
It's a natural 18.
Oh, Varian, you little.
It was a 4, and it went like 4 natural 18.
Oh.
He comes back with arm in arm with Jin.
Carrying.
alive.
I'm actually.
Oh,
No, he is
Amazing.
rejuvenated. This is like not
This is
just
powerful shit.
revivified. This is resurrection.
this is deep magic.
Jin seems different. Although his body's still there, Varian explains that potentially the curse of his lycanthropy
Oh my goodness.
may have gone. It might have left him in death. And now that he's been revivified in, it's the same body, kind of. He's unsure, and upon the full moon, they'll find out.
Just had a factory reset.
Does Jin look
he's-
like
He's-
adolescent now? Is he grown up a bit?
Yeah, he's probably like he was about 16, 17. He's now kind of he's like 18,
Okay.
getting on 19. He's sort of the same, slightly younger than Arabella. Arabella and Kong and Aaron are there, and Arabella kind of rushes over and hugs him and kisses him and thanks Varian, and Varian sort of like blushing like, oh no, don't worry about it.
Redemption.
Varian turns to you all and he says, I have much prayer to do. I will rebuild the Fortune's Rest for us, the Gypsies of Fortune. But if you are ever in dire need, call upon this dragon priest, and I shall be there. By the north wind! And with a tear in his eye, Varian walks towards Ongmiri. And,
he's repented himself.
Leaves you for a time until Rolo can
Redeemed.
return once more. What are you doing with the rest of your time then?
I would like to maybe. I imagine Richter's kind of hit us up about the bounties.
Yep, you've all been informed about all of those things.
I want to go check out this crazy village, the cursed village where the trees are moving.
Oh yeah, that like really piques Rufus's interest as well.
Okay.
It's like a flashback to his former days looking for Fey goings-ons.
So we've got Rufus and Zoot going off on their little mini quest. What about Richter? And
Forest gnomes to the forest.
Richter and Drow and Dutch.
How do you feel about going to find this this bandit? This bandito.
That could be good.
Yeah, I feel like the three of us could just like lay down some serious hurt.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Done enough humanitarian work. It's time to do some smiting.
We will we'll do Rufus and Zook first. So this is a skill challenge. So you I assume making your way there via
Probably Windwalk.
okay.
It's quicker.
So the first challenge is getting there. Windwalk is your use of the spell instead of a check, and you are fast on your way across the province. It's a fair way. It's going to take pretty much a whole day to get there.
I was just going to say, if we do this on the same day, if they go look for the bandits, I'll Windwalk everyone.
Okay, yeah, you all set off on the same day. You Windwalk everyone, and you guys head off west towards the small hamlet known as Sprin Heath. You ask about, and you find that it is a small settler village bordering the Aesine forest.
Okay.
You arrive later in the day as the sun is beginning to set. Let me change the music. The town, it's a cluster of maybe 6 or 7 houses, as well as some farmsteads and what looks to be a town hall and an inn. The inn is called the Leafy Pint, but it looks to be shut. But on approaching, the lights are on, and you can see that there looks to be a patron within there. The street is kind of muddy. It's kind of open fields around you, and Rufus, you are immediately struck by this place and how similar it feels to the small town that you came across on your ramblings as a youth. As a younger man. What do you do for your next section of the skill challenge?
So when we get there, there's nothing other than a closed pub that should be open.
Well, it looks to be open, but there's not much going on.
Do we want to ask around about the bounty?
Yeah, if we ask around and talk to some villagers, try and find the people who might have been involved. Rufus would like to use persuasion to tell us exactly what happened, and so that we can better understand the situation.
Okay, make me a persuasion check.
Ooh, a 7 plus 12, so an 18, 19.
19. You ask about the village, and most people are kind of like, "Wow, that was quick." We only sent We only sent Mabel off like a few days back, a week back. She must have only made it to Soul Reach just by now. Oh, with the moon, the Saloon's Day coming up, we got to get this place. There's a curse, and they sort of essentially tell you that the spiritual guide, the kind of priest of the town, of the farmstead or village, has gone senile. He's seemingly kind of gone a bit mad or gone a bit old. And the wards that he's placed around the town to protect it from the magics of the Eocene have burnt and failed. They say that they're just charred, cindered sticks. They talk about the curse placed on the town, the curse from the forest. The tree. They see things in the trees moving late at night. They hear cackling from the woods, the cackling of what sounds like laughter. They talk about the milk, waking up and the milk from the cow is spoiled. It's basically like rotten cheese coming out of the cow. One of the pigs, one of the sows, gave birth to like a deformed pig, a deformed like piglet that had like hair and all sorts of like weird deformities to it.
Ooh.
They say the crows have been like the crows killed a cat that was running through town, and everyone found the cat like in the middle of town dead. But the cat was like hanging from a tree, like it had been lifted up there by the crows.
Can I spend the day looking about the town and where it borders the Eocene, looking for clues of this curse, using perception to see any sign of strange goings on.
Okay. You spend the night in the town, in the inn, getting a couple of rooms that are seemingly, just straw in Hessian sheets. It's very uncomfortable for you, Ruthus, but you're getting more used to the rough and tumble lifestyle. And Zook, you spend the time, over the night and into the next day, kind of stalking about and watching the goings on. Roll me a perception check, please.
I do it as an owl.
Okay.
Twit fucking twoo. It's a 9, which becomes a 24.
24. You scour the town, flying about at night, but nothing catches your interest until the following night. You see a flock of what look like ravens flying together, land on the kind of crooked, leafless tree, even though it's summer. They land there, all kind of in a line. And as you kind of watch them, you swear they kind of congregate into what looks like a thing that sits atop the tree, like in almost in like cloaked hood and robes. And you see a gnarled hand, long with these long fingernails, point out towards the town, and you hear some whispering as the clawed hand moves.
I immediately wake Ruthus and say, "It's out there. We've got to go now."
Rushing out, what do you use for your next skill check? What do you do?
Can I use survival to try and track it as it moves away through the forest, and to try and see?
You definitely can. Make me a survival check.
It's a 23.
Both of you creeping behind it as you watch it turn back into a flock of ravens that fly off towards the darkness of the Eocene.
Do we get within 30 feet of it at any point?
Not from this far. You follow what look to be droppings from the raven, areas where they've landed on the branches, and you make your way maybe an hour or so, an hour and a half, into the kind of edge of the Eocene. Eventually you move far enough into the Eocene where you no longer can see the kind of fields behind, and this area of the Aegean is unfamiliar to you, Zook. It's far kind of northwest side, or the western edge. No, sorry, eastern edge of the Aegean.
Yeah.
Kind of nearing the mountains. And you
It hasn't got a kind of jungly climate though.
Not this
cool
section. Not this section.
Forest.
The jungly sections tend to be the kind of magical innard of the Aegean, where you stray far enough away from the normal land, and eventually you make your way into, like, it just becomes more and more strange.
Nice.
But this feels almost kind of boggy. The trees are kind of gnarled, and as you approach, you see what looks to be on stilts a hut, an old hut with a trail of smoke coming up from the chimney. The roof is thatched, but there's much moss and fungi kind of growing all around, and little in the darkness, little sort of blue fireflies are kind of like dotted about. What do? You see the flock of ravens land at the door and form into this hobbling creature that enters the hut.
From my experience of a similar situation in the past and through research, can I use a history check to try and think of what this creature might be?
You certainly can roll me a history check.
And what its kind of motives usually are.
Mm-hmm.
I have advantage on this.
If you're still
the
attuned
glasses.
to your spectacles, you do, yeah.
Yeah.
You like push them
okay.
up.
That is a 15.
You think about maybe the things that you've experienced and things you've heard of. And you come to the conclusion that you think that this creature is probably a hag of some kind.
Yeah.
Hags are notoriously conniving and secretive individuals that act on deals between, like, bargains between them, a little bit like how devils act, although not fiends of nature. You're unsure of the nature of this particular hag, but hags they don't particularly like conflict. They tend to instead enjoy bargaining and feeding on the kind of terror or unhappiness of people. That's all you know. But equally, having interacted with a coven before, you are particularly wary of hags.
Do I remember anything from my encounter with a hag in the Feywild? As that was part of what happened when Zook first went there. He encountered one.
Just roll me an intelligence check real quick. I'll do this as part of this.
It's a 14.
It's hazy. You remember being tricked somehow, but not a lot other than that. What are you going to do next?
We could set alight the hut.
We could try and trick it somehow.
Yeah.
Or we could just try and kill it.
We could. We should try and trick it. Okay, Zook basically, obviously not going to RP this. Zook basically says, Ruthus, can you lure it out into the open so I can get close enough to sneak up and touch it?
Yes. I can. Okay. Rufus is going to use an Eldritch Invocation and cast Alter Self to make myself into a frail, like wounded. Is this how it works?
You
Alter
can
self.
alter self. One of the options is you can make yourself look different. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to stay the same size.
Yeah, you got
so
to stay
have
the
to be
same
small.
size, and it doesn't change your clothes. It just
I'm
changes
gonna-
your physical body.
Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, I'm gonna turn myself into like a frail, like adventurer who's like wounded and like in desperate need, looking all bedraggled, and I'm gonna use performance to crawl and clamber up to the cottage, calling out in the night. Please,
I'm gonna.
I
float.
need help. I'm desperate. I'll do anything.
I'm going to cast Pass Without Trace and sneak round and float up onto the roof of the hut and wait above the door.
Okay, make both your rolls. Let's see how this plays out.
I got an
Okay.
extra one.
Do I get advantage because of my cloak, or is it a bit less woody? Is it more of a clearing?
No, it's wooded. You can definitely have
Okay.
advantage.
It's not better anyway. I got a 23 for my 24 for my spell.
And you
stuff.
got a natural 1, Josh.
Yeah, I did.
You begin kind of clambering up the steps, and a figure doesn't emerge but stands in the doorway. You see a pair of eyes facing towards you, and like in through the darkness, all that comes out into the light is a long hooked nose with like bulbous sort of blotches on it. One like kind of bursts even like while it's there. You hear a voice.
Desperataio. I recognize your scent. You've seen me and my sisters before.
Zook, from atop above the hut, you see what looks to be a large raven sitting in a tree on the other side of the clearing, and it drops out into the splotchy kind of mud. But it's just a really large-looking hag. Just its hood is up and over its body. It's like as thick as it is wide. As it begins to kind of trundle its way towards you, you turn to the right and you see a third hag. This one, without legs, it just kind of floats like a ghost, but it's just as if someone's got a stick and they're just doing this with like a flag. Its eyes are like covering its face all the way down to here. Its chin is like really pointed and long.
Do I think they're aware of me?
No, you don't think they're aware of you, but they're aware of Rufus. They all in unison are like,
Suncrest. Wishing to go back, are you? Did not have enough last time. He never has enough.
You can RP this bit if you want.
Rufus is not acting. He's waiting because Zook said he'd do something.
Okay, at this point, Zook panics and he drops down and grabs the hag's nose, and he just goes, oh man, he goes, "Eso suendales," he says in Sylvan, and he pumps plane shift, holding his cloak of Bay Seasons. He's like, "Back to the twilight with you." And I cast plane shift and attempt to send the hag back to the Feywild.
What's the save?
I think it's wisdom. I should have looked this up. As shrieks of
strange deer and ravens and the chatter of insects, as well as a distant sort of drum beat, kind of, and like a twang of a lute plays out.
Is it wisdom saving throw?
Bear with.
I think it's charisma because it's a.
Oh, it might be.
Yeah, I think it's
playing
charisma.
shift. Alternatively, yes, it is charisma.
Okay. That's a natural 6 plus 3, which is a 9.
Oh yes.
You grab, shouting this out. You hear all 3 in unison of the hags all as the middle main one that's in the hut just whoosh in a burst of sort of divine leaf magic. It disappears. The other 2 begin kind of like writhing in the air, and they both shout in unison,
Suncrest, Suncrest, you've tricked us this time. Suncrest, Suncrest, come back, come back. We will show you the way to your daughter.
and they kind of both fade off into the night.
Ooh.
You are left sort of feeling shook on the steps, cooling up.
Holy shit, that was nuts.
The moon passes across the glade, and all seems tranquil. You can see that a couple of the kind of effigies that are placed there have kind of shriveled, almost like the power has left this area. You go back to the village, and you can see
Can we check out the hut first? Can we just see if anything's in the hut?
Oh, sure, yeah. Inside the hut is what looks to be a large mirror on the back wall. You can see like various sort of implements, and there's like eyes in a bowl. There's various like powders sort of scraped up. Roll me a d6. Zook.
Okay. It's a 2.
It's a 2. Oh, where did I put it?
I find a jar of pus from the hag's nose.
Shit, what did I do with it? Hang on.
Oof. That was a shivery moment. It was creepy.
Okay. What did you get? Sorry.
2.
2. You find more pepperberries.
Hey,
you find,
nice.
Roll me a d4.
Okay. It's a 2.
You find 3 pepperberries.
Nice.
Rufus, you find what looks to be a dagger on the side of a counter. A dagger.
Is it the same one?
A dagger which you recognise.
Interesting.
You can hear as you kind of reach towards it, kind of like this. But you move your hand away from it, knowing what had happened previously when you clutched the dagger. You make your way back to the town, and you can see the stick kind of effigies that surrounded the town have sprouted and regrown, and a few of the people have kind of congregated outside, and the old priest of the town stands kind of before the town, looking about wildly and asking what had happened. Seemingly some kind of trickery had been placed upon him.
Glamour.
He vows that he shall not let this happen again, and won't be tricked by people pretending not to be others that they are not. The town thank you Rufus Suncrest of Soulreach of coming all this way. They kind of chip together, and they give you 15 gold pieces.
Nice. Cool.
Great, good old hermit.
And you make your way back towards the town.
Nice. Nice.
We can end it there for the session, or we can do a similar length one for
I
Richter.
would love to, but I think I might need to wrap up.
I think we're going to leave it there, and we will.
But I am looking forward to that.
We will continue next session, at the beginning of next session, with the very exciting highwaymen known as the Seers, by the sun-kissed bluffs, which are in the opposite direction towards the east.
Excellent. I'm gonna put them in the Sears catalog.
Join us next time for the concluding part of this downtime, and then the Festival of the Moon.
And if you've been listening to this show, you'll know events involving the moon are only ever a good thing. It's never a lycanthropic invasion of a city, never a congregation of druids that there is, a spy in transmitting information to Oscar. Nothing ever bad happens during a full moon, ever. We're not, going to test if this Jinn kid's just going to turn into a beast. No, it's going to be great. It's going to be lovely.
Gonna get back.
Carnival vibes.
Jinn's gonna have eaten Varian.
The return of practical frost.
Not as a wolf.
The return of practical frost. Where is he now?
Where to he now?
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you,
Until
everybody.
next time.
Love you all.
Goodbye.